Right now, somewhere in a classroom, a high school senior is staring at her laptop, wondering what she's supposed to do with the rest of her life. Right now, somewhere on a military base, a service member is folding a uniform he's worn for 15 years and thinking about what comes next. Both of you, wherever you are, you're exactly who we built this for. Welcome to service to the nation. I'm Dr. Victor McCrary, and over the next few hours, we're going to talk about the future, not the far off science fiction future, the right now future, the one being built in labs and data centers across this country by people who decided they wanted to be part of something bigger than themselves. Here's the truth, folks. Artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, quantum computing, these are not buzzwords. They are national priorities. Countries around the world are racing to lead in these fields. And the only way America stays ahead is if we invest in you, the students, the veterans, the spouses, the people with grit and curiosity who are willing to show up and do the work. This is what service looks like in 2026. It's not just wearing the uniform, though we honor every single one of you who has. It's also writing the code, designing the system, securing the network, building the future this country needs. So, over the next few hours, we're going to meet leaders from every corner of America's economy and the pathways that lead into it: retail, apprenticeship, energy, education, government, healthcare, real people in real industries with real pathways you can walk into. And we're starting strong. Our first segment is retail and digital commerce. And before anybody out there tunes out thinking retail isn't for me, pump the brakes. Retail is the most AI transformed industry on the planet right now. Every time you click buy now, there's a supply chain, a recommendation engine, a fraud detection system, and a sustainability calculation working in the background. Veterans, your logistics experience, that's gold here. Students, the way you think about online shopping, you're closer to this industry than you realize. And to walk us through it, we have a woman who is genuinely doing it all. Christine Burkette is an entrepreneur, an IT consultant, and a nationally recognized tech influencer. She's a chemist by training who built her career in technology. And then in 2024, she launched Merde Designs, a sustainable fashion company that's using textile recycling innovation to transform an entire industry. She speaks around the world on digital equity, data security, and sustainability. She sits on the advisory board for the Strategic AI Certificate Program at Cornell University. She is the future of what tech leadership looks like. Listen up. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Miss Christine Burkette.
Hey, thanks. Listen, it is so great to be a part of this program. I think this is a tremendous opportunity, and I hope that what I share with you today in some way enhances your concept or your idea of where you want to go next in workforce development. So let's get started. So one of the things that I want to say to you is that Dr. McCray is right on point. You know, retail is right in the middle of everything that's happening with AI. So without further ado, let's just kind of get through this so we can think about what's next. So when we talk about the presentation, the future of retail and digital commerce, where technology meets opportunity, well, it's already there. So we're going to kind of go through this presentation, but I want to kind of talk to you as if we're both in the same room. So one of the things I always tell my students, grab a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil, because you're going to need to take notes. When we think about traditional retail, you know, back in the day, you know, my son says, Mom, when you guys had storefronts, well, you guys have storefronts too. You have digital storefronts, and your digital storefronts are right at your fingertips, tablet, phone, but it's even much further than that. You know, even now, when you think about e-commerce, one of the things that you guys, or some of you may know, or some of you may not know, is that virtual reality also has e-commerce. We have stores that's in this VR space where you could walk down the street, I don't know, as a bunny rabbit or as fabulous you, and go into these stores and shop. Or you can just jump on your phone and jump into any store. So when you think about traditional retail, like your physical stores, your customer service, cashiers, inventory, sales associates, well, now that's all a one-stop shop because you guys have online shopping that ranges from TikTok to Shopify to Amazon, and they're all AI-powered shopping experiences that every time you touch one thing, it tells you what's next. So the example is if you didn't realize that you were being, I don't know, data collected, or when they talk about machine learning, everything that I say to you is actual job. So every time you click a button and you say to yourself, wow, what are they getting from this? What are they getting from me? Well, when you shop at Amazon and you click on TikTok, a product link, order food, online, buy sneakers, you're participating in what we call the digital commerce. Your data is being collected. So here's an example. Yeah, that clothing line you talked about. When you thought about sustainability, you were thinking, oh, Merde, it can't really be that hot. Well, sustainable clothing lines can be hot. And the way it came about that was just thinking about how do we still save the planet and still have fashion? So I sat down with a piece of paper and pen first before I even touched technology. And I thought about the plan. So before you start doing anything, you've got to map out what it is that you want to do from start to finish. So there's no gaps in your communication and your delivery. Those are things, those are tools that can transfer from anything. Just think about when you write a paper. First, you want to think about, I don't know, the hypothesis. Oh, sorry, that's the chemistry thing in me popping up. But I do. Everything to me is a hypothesis. The question of what am I going to do and how am I going to solve this problem? So when you think about it from that perspective, think about it this way. The latest technology in retail was also a hypothesis. So when you think about, I don't know, AI bots, the AI bots, the chat bots are only as good as the information you put in them. So when someone wants to ask like the most common questions and you're trying to figure out how do they know that I have this question? Because they've taken your data every time you pushed a any little thing in TikTok, you ask the question online, they're taking that information and saying, humans are going to probably ask this question as it relates to this type of product. And therefore, they put frequently asked questions so they can go into the chat and they can respond to you. And at some point, you're saying to yourself, what's happening is asking me, do I want to talk to a real person? Because now you've gone through all of their initial frequently asked questions. But understand this, it's a personalized recommendations that they give you as well. So when you start thinking about flowers and the next thing you know, you're thinking to yourself, I was just sitting in a room thinking, I want to buy flowers. But the next thing you know, you go to your search and then flowers come up. Yeah, your phone's listening to you, your tablet's listening to you, your Alexa's listening to you. I don't know, technology listens and it pays attention to what you says. And it does a smart inventory system. Like it thinks about what you said and then it stacks it into that Christine, she likes this. They know that I love shoes. So every time I hit my phone, what pops up? Fabulous shoe sales. So be careful about what you say. The other thing is fraud protection is really, really big, but it's only as good as you set your permissions. Always make sure you set your permissions to allow them to have access to your data if and when you want them to. Oh, by the way, that's a job. It's called cybersecurity. So everything we talk about, remember, is not just an action on your end, it's also someone behind it, creating, delivering, and also thinking about what the hypothesis. Don't forget about what I said when I started out. The chemist in me is always around. And then you want to talk about predictive shopping trends. Well, in my world, that's called predictive analysis. Yeah, that's called math. So all of you math geniuses out there who are thinking you have no place to go, think about that. Predictive analysis is very important when you talk about AI and understanding how people shop. The other thing is problem solvers are really great in that perspective too, because you have to be able to map out what next steps are. So when you talk about augmented reality, oh, we talked about that virtual reality thing. Yeah, now you can shop online, you can put on makeup, you can try on clothes, you can see how those sneakers are going to look, and you can dance and all that kind of stuff. Well, maybe people my age haven't caught up, but you guys know what I mean. You guys are doing that right now, trying on outfits online, and then you're buying them. You can preview furniture in your home just by taking a picture. Well, maybe the older people are doing that, maybe not you guys, just so we can see how it fits with our whole color scheme. But then we talk about robotics. By the way, you engineers, this is where you pop in. Automated warehouses and your men and women who have served our country, logistics is more important than what you think. Fulfillment centers are like the answer to everything right now. You can take a data warehouse and put it into a fulfillment center, but it's only as good as the people who are boots on the ground to help us with logistics. To manage shipping all over the globe, you have to know logistics. Well, sometimes serving in the military pays off more than what you think. A lot of us people who are civilians, we haven't worked in that space and we don't understand how to ship all over the world. And we don't even understand how you can put things on train versus a plane versus on sea. So that's where you come in. A lot of you can really help us organize larger teams. Our teams normally max out at somewhere around 100 people, sometimes smaller than that. You guys have managed over 500 people or more, thousands of people, logistics all over the country. And again, thank you for your service. So when you do your self-checkout in technology, remember this, set your permissions, make sure your credit cards are not saved onto your phone. Oh yeah, that phone thing. Why? Because when someone takes your phone, they also take your credit card information. Data tracking for customers is so important, but that's how we set the trends that we look at. And that's how they set the trends for you to decide what you're going to look at. Understanding your buying behavior and predicting future sales. Oh, that predictive analysis thing. So if you're thinking about where you want to go in retail, think about this way. Smart retail is cybersecurity and social e-commerce. How does that work? First of all, cybersecurity, you want to protect your customer. The payment information you put in is vital to a person's identity. That's called identity theft. Yeah, some of you guys might want to beat that up, especially the young people. Why? Because your credit is pretty good and there's scammers out there. Social commerce, selling through Instagram, TikTok influencer, and live stream shopping, well, a lot of that can kind of impact you too. That's where they do a lot of scamming. So be careful where you buy. Everything that's cute doesn't always lead to a cute person who's handling your credit card information. So think about that. So I know you're probably saying, why is she saying raise hands? Raise hands are important. So in the room, I want you guys to look around. How many of you right now are purchasing something that you saw on social media? Well, 9 times out of 10, 90% of people in the room are raising their hand because what do you guys do? You stop going to malls and now you're shopping. And now you're thinking, why are the malls closing? Because you're all shopping online buying these really cute outfits. Yeah, you might want to go back to the malls because malls are still cool. Well, so some people still tell me. I'm not a mall shopper, but I do frequent the malls to support some stores. So let's talk about career opportunities. You're probably thinking to yourself, I'm thinking about going into a career, but I'm not really sure with everything that's going on in AI. Well, customer service support is really important. Think about all the airlines. You still need customer service, even though, yeah, you're probably thinking I can make my own airline reservations. That's true, but we like customer service. Even with Amazon, if you have a problem, you can still talk to a person. So you're going to need customer service people. That only requires a high school diploma. Digital marketing assistant. That's a certification. So digital marketing is when you have a person who pushes out information to a large population of people in a certain demographic, may it be on TikTok. And everyone in TikTok, a certain age group, you want to push out bandanas are in. This is a stylish bandana. The minute you push in head and you're going to type in, I want a new headscarf, bandanas are going to pop up and it's going to come to you. That's called digital marketing assistant. You're going to need a certification for that. But that's not a very long, it doesn't take long, it takes about 6 to 12 months. Very quick certification. Social media coordinator, a portfolio experience, that's all you need. So if you're a person that likes really cool gadgets and you're online, you're trying to figure things out, guess what? That might be the job for you. Warehouse tech associate, on the job training. Everyone who's done logistics, this is for you. We need you more than you think because we cannot fulfill our orders unless our logistics is ran right, and that's our fulfillment. And then retail sales tech, customer service skills are crucial. So all of you who are texting and you don't speak incomplete sentences, work on that. So here's a little tidbit, a little known history fact about me. This is also my company. It's a nonprofit. It's a nonprofit that helps you with workforce development. And one of the things that we look at when we talk about workforce development is helping people who are in existing roles transition to other roles, and then people who want to get into new roles to kind of take a look at, I don't know, test the water a little bit to kind of see if this is what you want to do. So before you jump right in, check out our site and see what we can do for you in workforce development. And we have everything from healthcare to warehouse to AI manufacturing. So when we talk about those careers, because we've got to make sure you guys understand the opportunities out there. The AI prompt engineer, the average focus is AI systems. So you said, what is an AI prompt engineer? You know how you go into chat and you wanted to create an AI version of yourself? Well, someone is actually teaching AI to understand prompts. That means the ask that you're asking and to process it in the way that you expect it to come out. So therefore, you have to make sure that you're writing the prompts correctly. Data analyst, I love those guys. Well, I forgot, I'm one of those guys too. You probably see this lady wears a lot of hats. Well, as time changes, you have to change as well. And you have to grow and expand. And my work is expanding and looking at opportunities as we advance in technology. So, data is one of the things that I started out with as a chemist. You have to know data. Data analytics is important today. So again, all those mathematicians, this is where you jump in. Cybersecurity analyst, security protection is important for every layer, mobile apps, e-commerce, websites, everything that you need to work online, you're going to need cybersecurity analysts. And it's not as hard as you think. So just take a look at it. A lot of it is just oversight, I don't know, and predictive analysis. Think about that. So UI UX design, that's one of my babies. I love it. I develop apps and websites. You're probably thinking, what doesn't this woman do? Again, as technology advances, I have to advance. I got to keep up with it. Plus, you guys are moving pretty quickly. And how can I keep up with you if I don't advance with you? E-commerce specialist, that's an online store, cloud support technician, web developer, and then we're looking at our last thing, which is marketing. Marketing is so important. Without marketing, you can't create websites like this. A marketing person is great, and they can only pass on the information that you give to a UI UX developer. By the way, this is my tech company. And yeah, we work with AI all the time, but we also work with marketing as well. So keep those things in mind, people, that creativity is what creates all the images that you see. So we still need those people with a great eye for things that they pull together. So the high growth future careers that we're looking at is AI governance specialists, virtual store designers, retail automation technician, drone delivery operators. Those are really awesome. And by the way, that's like having like a mini pilot license. So all of you guys who are like serve your country, you might want to look into that because everybody's doing like these AI drone like delivery things, which is really cool. And then supply chain intelligence, again, predictive analysis, organization, and a CRM system. You could do this. Trust me, it's very simple. And then the metaverse e-commerce designers, if you can design, if you're an architectural designer and you say, I'm going to school to be an architect, jump in this as soon as you can. Building buildings in a virtual world. Look at SimCity. It's amazing. Architects, you can transfer that skill and start designing in the metaverse. And then digital brand strategists. We need you guys because everything is digital. So certifications versus college. You're probably thinking, wow, that's a tough question right now. Well, it's not. I have 4 degrees and also have multiple certifications. You can go either way. So think about it this way. The fastest entry into the workforce right now, if you don't have the money to invest in a 2-year or 4-year degree, is to go do Google IT support certificate, the Meta digital marketing, shopping, the Shopify certifications, because everyone's trying to build these stores. It's a great way to build your skill set at the same time, making money until you decide what you want to do, as far as college, that is. And I definitely support college. CompTIA tech certifications, Microsoft certifications, and Adobe. So those are the things that are going to take you 6 to 12 weeks. Now, if you're looking at a 2-year degree, that's community college or associate degree, business technology, marketing, information technology, and graphic design. Those are low cost, but it's a greater opportunity for you to get job placement. Because again, think about it. You're probably wondering, this woman, how old is she? Well, just know this, I'm over 50. I know you're probably thinking she doesn't look it. Thank you for that. But first, I always need a team of young minds thinking about the next innovation. So it's always great to have you guys on my team. So even with the 2-year degree, you're still valued. And I would love to have you, just like any company would, to have you on their team. Now, if you guys are already in school and you're thinking, okay, I'm working towards a 4-year degree, those are computer science, business administration, marketing, cybersecurity, and data analytics. You're prime. Leadership opportunities, long-term career growth, corporate advancement, and higher salary potential. But guess what? Everyone from diplomas to certificates to 2-year to 4-year, it's what you make of it. You can scale the opportunities for yourself just by getting the additional certifications and what you want to do. Nothing right now is hard. I always say your life is like a freeway right now. We always think we're started off on this one path, right? Thinking, oh, we've got this. But then something happens and the path takes us in a different direction. So think about this. This is your time to pivot and look at a different direction. And then the highway is what it is. It's a road to go in multiple places that you can gain multiple experiences. Like me, I don't know, 50-year-old lady who thinks like a 20-year-old though. So my biggest thing is I always dream big. I set my goals and then I take action. And then I look at my finances and what role they play in that. And then my long-term vision. I always plan backwards, what it is that I want. And then I figure out, how do I get there? Why? Because it's the getting there that's going to get you there successfully. It's not you thinking about it. It's what the time that you put into planning to make sure you get there successfully. So the real world advice I'm going to offer to you, what employees want today: effective communication skills, problem solving, teamwork, creativity, technology literacy, adaptability, and professionalism. Yeah, that's why this lady over 50 is still making these moves, and I'm pivoting and I'm learning, because still I'm marketable. And I would match myself up against, I don't know, any of you young people out there, maybe not the service people and fulfillment, but I might give you a run for your money with the CRM system though. So what I want you to look at is making sure that you guys build a LinkedIn profile, you learn basic AI tools, take free online courses, volunteer and intern, and then learn more personal branding. Practice communication skills, okay? And one very important thing, when I say learn personal branding, look up ChristineBurkette.com. I had to create my own website so that people can understand what it is that I do, not just what I run, but who I am as a person. So remember that. It's so very important that you create your own brand. And don't forget, whether you have a certificate, a diploma, a 2-year degree, or a 4-year degree, you can do this. AI is at our fingertips. And don't forget, we created AI. AI didn't create us. Thanks again for joining me for this session. And if you have any more questions, trust me, I'm here to answer them. Thanks again. And I hope you learned something from this presentation.
This spring, we're launching Service to Nation, a national virtual job and career fair, a nationwide movement to connect America's high school students with careers of purpose, innovation, and service. From rural towns to urban schools, Service to Nation invites grades 10 through 12 to explore emerging fields like artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, and quantum computing, while meeting real employers, colleges, and national service organizations. Our message is clear: your future, your service, your nation. This campaign isn't just about jobs. It's about civic readiness, workforce development, and national impact. With videos, social content, and live experiences, we'll reach students where they are and give partners a platform to meet mission-driven young talent. Together, we'll inspire a generation to learn, serve, and lead. Service to Nation, a national virtual job and career fair. Learn more at servicetonation.org.
Hi, my name is Marcia Jews. Welcome to STEM City USA's coverage of the conference. Through all 3 days, we will be bringing you incredible interviews with inspiring STEM pioneers leading the way in industry, government, academia, and around the world. And now, please welcome our next guest.
Aaliyah Gibbs is an AI adoption specialist, generative AI agent developer, public speaker, and business owner dedicated to advancing AI literacy and leadership development. As a rising leader in AI, she's paving the way for the next generation of STEM, empowering everyone from elementary students to executives to thrive in the future of technology.
Well, welcome. How are you, Aaliyah? I'm so excited about your interview. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you decided to get into STEM?
Yes, so of course, my name is Aaliyah Gibbs. I am an AI adoption specialist as well as an AI engineer. And just a little bit about me is I'm currently located in Dallas, Texas. I got my bachelor's in computer engineering at North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. I'm currently pursuing my master's in artificial intelligence at the University of Texas at Austin. And I'm pretty active. I love to do yoga. I'm doing swim lessons. A lot of people think because I take swim lessons, I can't swim. But there's a difference between swimming and having the actual technique. So I've been doing swim lessons for the past 5 months. And the reason I got into STEM, as my mom would say, is I was very tech savvy as a kid. So I was always the one that when the Wi-Fi went out, my parents were calling on me to get the routers to start working again. Anytime we got some type of new electronic device, it was my mission to be able to set them up without reading the instructions. And I remember when I was a kid, when the iPhone first came out, I hated how the messages were blue. And I wanted a pink text messages on my iPhone. And so I started to look up what jobs were in cell phone development. And so that's how I came up with either getting a computer engineering degree or an electrical engineering degree. And so through that is how I was able to get involved in tech, because I wanted to make cell phones because I wanted a pink iPhone as a kid.
I love it. So did you bring your pink iPhone so we could see it?
I didn't. My iPhone's purple. I did not.
Okay,
maybe
but a
one
variation
day.
on the same
Right.
theme, right?
It's close.
That's exactly right. Tell us about when you were a little girl and what you wanted to be when you grew up.
Yeah, I knew, I wanted to have a lot of money. That's what I knew as a young girl. That was one thing. My parents will tell you, I hated being told no. And so the way I looked at it as if I had my own money, no one could tell me no. So as soon as I turned 16, I had applied and got a job at McDonald's. And it's funny because my grandparents used to own McDonald's.
I love it.
To then be at 16 working at a McDonald's, it was like a full circle moment. But I've always just had this hustle mentality. And through STEM, I've been finding ways of where I can increase my income. So that's pretty much how I got started.
So in looking at STEM, and for those of you who don't know, it's science, technology, engineering, and math. How did you bring that into your life and as part of your circle?
Yeah, so I was pretty good at math, number one, right? If you're going to be in any type of engineering discipline, you're going to be expected to take a lot of mathematical courses. So fortunately, my parents invested in a math tutor when I was young. I started school at 4 years old.
What?
And so I wasn't the best at math when I first started, which is hope to where if you're not good at math, well, guess what? You can practice and become good at math, because that was me at first. And through the tutoring, I was able to develop my math skills. And as a result, I passed all my math classes. Then in college, I had to take multiple calculus classes, and that's really what interests me the most. And I know when I was in junior year, my teacher told us that Bill Gates was hiring software engineers for $250,000 if they got their PhDs. So, as somebody who liked money, I heard $250,000 and I was sold. So I started looking up computer engineering courses, and I saw that my school in high school, they actually had a computer programming class.
I love it.
So I took that class, and my thought process was, if I were to enjoy it, that was going to be how I chose the computer engineering major. And fortunately for me, my computer programming teacher, she was actually a Black woman that went to an HBCU.
Really?
So that was really important.
So that brought a nice connection.
Exactly. And that was my first experience with any type of software coding experience. And then boom, I chose that as my major, and then took my first computer programming class my first semester of my freshman year. And we had the lab the first day of class. So you could not leave class without having a working Java program. I had never touched Java code before, but the way I looked at it was as long as I'm not the last person to leave, I'm good. And I wasn't the last person to leave. I got my code done and I was able to go, and the rest has been history.
And so now with that code, what door opened for you to be able to sit where you're sitting now?
Yes, so coding has opened up a lot of doors for me. I had a non-traditional route, to be transparent with you. I thought that when I was in college, I had to have an internship, because that's kind of what they instill in you, right? You have to have an internship in order to graduate. However, fortunately, there are other ways that you can gain that experience. And what I dealt with was about 4 years of rejection in undergrad.
Really?
I got rejected for every single internship that I applied for.
Why?
I have no clue, to be honest. I didn't have a mentor. I'm the first person in my family to have an engineering degree. Even though my parents were college graduates, I was the only one from engineering. So I really didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know the importance of mentorships. I didn't know the importance of organizations like WALK, as well as BEA and NSBE. I didn't know. And that's on me, right? But now that I have the mentors, I know the value in them. But I know that if I would have had those opportunities in college, I would have gotten the internship. However, I knew I'm trying to get a job. So I saw an alternative method. I started filling my resume up with experience, because that's ultimately what they're looking for, is how are you applying what you learn in school? And so that's exactly what I did without the internship, right? I sought out projects. I joined organizations. I did community service projects, which is why I've won the Community Service Award, because I've been doing it since high school as well as college. And I became a mentor to elementary kids, where I was teaching them math and reading and like robotics.
I love it.
And so through that, I was able to fill up my resume. And as a result, I had 2 full-time job offers before I graduated without any internship experience. So it's definitely possible.
And you had the vision to see that.
I did.
And what did you do? Have to sit by yourself and start thinking about what you've already experienced to get to where you are? Because we don't always know what we don't know in trying to get there, right?
Yeah.
And how do we balance what you've already know to what you need to know? Is there a difference there?
There is, but I think in a lot of the books that I'm reading, when it comes to success, right? The point is to start. You're never going to have everything that you need in order to get started. But when you start, we usually have a lot more resources available to us than we're aware of. But if you don't start, you'll never know the resources that you currently have. And so when you start along the way of that journey, you will continue to meet more people who can help you. You'll continue to receive more resources along the way. But the first step is to start. And so that's exactly what I did. I spoke with my professors, and as a result, I got to be on this autonomous vehicle project. And they even flew me out to Arizona.
What?
And it just took me going up to my professors and having those conversations. I didn't know how I was going to land the job. But my godmother used to tell me all the time, you are going to graduate with a full-time offer. Because my goal, honestly, when I was gaining all that experience, I thought I was just looking for an internship, because I really did not believe they were going to hire me without any internship experience. And she would always tell me, you're going to get a full-time job when you graduate. And the work that I was doing, even though the result wasn't to get a full-time job, it was to get an internship in my head. It ended up getting me multiple full-time job offers. So it all worked out.
But I'm glad you mentioned that, because we don't always know how to deal with mentors and how to approach them, how to cultivate a relationship with them, and or identify them within these different corporations and getting access. How are you able to access all of these levels?
Yes. So I would say now, really just by having a conversation, most people have no problems talking about themselves or how they got to where they're at. So really just seeking interest in people and really just understanding their stories is honestly the first way to start. And when I go to these type of conferences, if there's a speaker who resonates with me, I'll usually go up at the end of the conference and introduce myself. That's how I became a public speaker, is because I was able to come up to one of the speakers and I told them I wanted to start doing workshops, and she became my mentor. And from that moment, now here I am speaking at conferences, and that was 2 years ago.
I love it. So now that you have put a lot under your belt, right? What's the next 5 to 10 years look for you?
So the next 5 to 10 years looks for me full entrepreneurship, to be transparent, living between New York City, my favorite place in the world, as well as Dallas, being bi-coastal between both locations, and creating different AI adoption programs. I am in the process of building a new movement, which we can talk about later, and I plan to spread AI education. It's looking at it like it's AI taught by us for us, because I was told that African Americans, we're about 12 to 18 years behind in technology.
Really?
Yes. And with artificial intelligence, if we don't get on board, it's only going to increase. So that is what the mission of my new organization that I will be launching kind of targets.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's very interesting. And it sounds like it's more of a national, global conversation.
Yes.
Okay, I
I'm
see
building
it in
a
your
big
eyes.
mission. It's going to be huge.
Yes, I can tell that. Give us 3 things that you would want your younger self, that you would be able to bring it to now, that you didn't or should have.
The number one thing is you don't know everything. I would say a lot of my family knows I can be very hard-headed. And so being open to listening to other people earlier probably would have been more beneficial. Then I was also very introverted, which I am still. A lot of people like Dr. Terry don't believe me. I'm very introverted at times. So I would not go up and speak. So now that I know better, that's definitely something I would tell myself back in the day is like, hey, go up and speak to people. It's okay. It's not as scary. You know, you have to open your mouth in order to get what you want in this world. And you will be surprised by just telling people what you're trying to do, how many people will be willing to help you along the way.
And you're absolutely right, because a lot of times you don't even know what you don't know unless you have somebody in your circle or somebody near that you can trust with your life, because that's what we're talking about. So somebody could bring you something negative that you don't even realize if you hadn't paid attention or listened to others who report. What I would wonder, should we identify, or how do our young people identify somebody who could help them build their career? Who's that mentor for you? What type of person, what type of mentor should be for somebody who might be in middle school or high school or college? What does that look like?
So I would say two things. Number one, you have to respect the person you're seeking mentorship from, right? If you don't respect them, you're not going to listen and apply what they say to you. So you have to respect them. And then number two, they have to be successful at what it is you're seeking mentorship from. So if they don't have receipts, then I definitely wouldn't recommend seeking mentorship. You have to see their track record. It needs to be someone who has proven success in the area that you're trying to seek help in. And that way, you know, like, okay, they know exactly what they're talking about. I've seen it throughout their career, as well as I respect them. So I'm going to listen to what they say. And from there, that's how it works.
That's exactly right. But that listening is really huge. And sometimes people are so busy being busy and over talking you that they can't even really hear the essence of what's being said. How do we help folks to shape that conversation, whatever it is, because it's helping you develop what you need to do within that career span? What are we doing, and how do we find those types of mentors that can help guide you?
So I would say the number one place to start finding mentors is attending conferences like these, right? This is the place where mentors, in my personal opinion, when I went to the NSBE conference in 2023, I was able to leave with multiple mentors. Even when just me asking a question in the audience, someone came up to me afterwards because they wanted to mentor me. And so just once again, me speaking up, one thing I'm very proactive in is I like to ask questions. So anytime, if I'm in any type of session, I will go out of my way to ask a question as an audience member, because that way people see your face. Because I used to be so scared of doing that stuff as a kid.
Really?
Yes, that introvertedness. And now I have no problems with speaking up, grabbing the microphone, and letting my presence be known. People need to know who you are and know exactly what you want to do. And so I always tell people the other side of it is when you're seeking a mentor, you need to know what you want. Like, I can't help you with anything if you haven't figured out what you want or have some type of an idea of what you want. So I always tell people it starts with the self first before I can help you.
That's huge, because that's what I say. You have to see yourself. And if you don't see yourself, you need somebody to help you to see yourself, because there are so many different places that you can go if you have all the right information from the right people. Finding those mentors and teachers and family members who can pour into you all of those informational things. Do you find that to be difficult for you?
Definitely not, to be honest with you. It wasn't hard when it comes to my engineering career. At first with the business, because I didn't know what I was doing in business, right? I've been an engineer for 7 years, so business is an entirely new ballgame. But the way I have to look at it is, even though it's engineering versus business, there's still the same steps when it comes to it, right? I had engineering mentors, and now I need business mentors. It's the same process, just a different game. And I look at it as, if I can be successful and an award-winning engineer, I can be a successful award-winning business owner. I just have to be connected to the right people. I sought out business organizations. I've gone to business networking events. And now I have a lot of different speaking mentors. August, I didn't have one speaking mentor. Now I have like 5. I have accountability partners in the speaking industry now. But it just took myself aligning with the right speaking organizations to do that.
Alea Gibbs, thank you so much for being here. We're so grateful grateful to see you at the conference, and you're home now because the expectation is we're going to see you next year.
Yes.
So you're stuck.
Right. I would love to come back. I'm excited. I'll be speaking on robotics later today and
wonderful.
artificial intelligence. So I'm pretty excited.
All right. Look, before we leave, let's talk about what you're doing here with this artificial intelligence business. Before we part, because, I need to hear the rest of that.
So my business is called Aaliyah's Intelligence, and that is where I teach individuals as well as organizations how to leverage artificial intelligence responsibly while preserving their critical thinking skills as well as creativity. So a lot of people are fearing that AI is replacing them or getting rid of the critical thinking skills. But when it comes to my company, we train you on how to use artificial intelligence to supercharge you and to make you faster. And I'm actually doing a masterclass that I'm promoting. It's called the $40,000 AI Masterclass, and I will show you the different use cases that help me earn an additional $40,000 this year while using artificial intelligence. So that's kind of what I have on the radar coming up.
So that was awful light and airy. Thank you so much. We're going to talk about, how they say, we're going to catch up with you soon, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, this is really huge, and we really want you all to take advantage of what you've learned here and to learn more about what she's doing. Thank you, Aaliyah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Now, please welcome our next guest.
Dr. Michael Keeve is the Dean of the College of Science, Engineering, and Technology at Norfolk State University. He earned his undergraduate degree from Hampton University and received his PhD from the Georgia Institute of Technology.
Welcome.
Hi, good morning.
I'm so excited to see you here.
I'm happy to be here.
Good. So, I think what's really exciting is that you've taken the time to come here today,
Yes.
and you have all these different levels of things that you walked away from to be here. We're so excited.
So true. Yes.
Yes. So tell us how you got to this place that you want to be a dean.
Okay, so currently I am the Dean for the College of Science, Engineering, and Technology at Norfolk State University. I started to be Dean in 2018. However, my journey at Norfolk State actually started in 1987. Okay,
Really?
So I've been there a good long time.
A good long time. That was a good old time, right?
Yeah. So how did I get to be dean? And so I'll go back to my leaving high school. I grew up in a rural county called Lottsburg, Virginia. It's in Northumberland County, Virginia. And it's about an hour and 15 minutes northeast of Richmond, Virginia. And I knew I was going to major in mathematics at that time. And so I went to Hampton University. And so that's my alma mater. And so that gave me my foundation for education for life, I tell you. From there, they gave me my confidence from the faculty, the things that I did there. And I went to summer internships every year as my freshman, sophomore, juniors. I mean, I was just, when I saw anything that I could do, I just went for it. And so, just always very inquisitive and on what else more I could do. And so those summer internships kind of gave me a foundation of industry and government in terms of whether I really wanted to do that. But how I got to Norfolk State is very interesting. So I finished Hampton from Bachelor's in Mathematics and went up straight to University of Virginia, got my Master's in Applied Mathematics from the University of Virginia. At that time, I interviewed with the National Security Agency.
Oh my gosh.
And so back then, there was a 3-day, I call it a grueling interview. I mean, they gave you polygraph tests, psychological tests, content tests of your area. You did lots of interviews with people possibly, but it was for 3 days. And so I was very much really like, whew, I'm glad this is over. But you had to get your clearance. And now I had clearance because during my summer internships, I had worked for Los Alamos National Laboratory in New Mexico for 2 summers. And I worked for the Naval Surface Weapons Center in Dahlgren, Virginia for 2 summers as well. And so I had my clearance, but I still had to go through it for the National Security Agency. So I was waiting. So those interviews was probably April, May. And so I was waiting for my clearance to come through. And I applied to Norfolk State. I said, okay, I'll do this. Because when I was getting my master's from UVA, and so I did my research at NASA Langley and in Hampton, Virginia. That's why I did my research for my master's. And I ran into someone working there who needed someone to play the piano. And I've been playing the piano since the 6th grade as well. So I've been playing for churches just about all my life, everywhere went. So I started playing then. They said, but give me your resume. And I'm working over in Norfolk State and see what happens. And so turned that in. And hey, got the job there in 1987. I said, and at that point, I was still waiting for my clearance to come through from National Security Agency.
Because that was the goal.
Right. And so started teaching there. My clearance came through about October, November of that. And I said, well, started here, had an basically a 1-year contract, so I could stop and go into the National Security Agency. But I enjoyed what I was doing.
Right.
And that's the part that I didn't know, that I really could enjoy the education side and teaching and the classroom, the students and all that. And so never took the job at NSA. So that's how I got to Norfolk State in 1987 as an instructor. But at that point I had my master's. And so after I did that for 4 years, I said, if I'm going to continue doing this in the academic arena, I need to get my doctorate.
Okay.
And so after 4 years of teaching from 87 to 91, I went back to school and I got my PhD from Georgia Tech in Atlanta, Georgia. So I left there in 91. The interesting thing about National Security Agency, when I went back to school for my doctorate, I applied for, I got a fellowship. Yeah, and the sponsoring agency for that fellowship was the National Security Agency. So I went to work with them for 2 summers anyway.
Of course you did.
I said, wow.
I love it.
Yep. So that ties back into the National Security Agency. Yeah. And then I got my doctorate from Georgia Tech and came back to Norfolk State and have been there ever since. And so I started off as an assistant professor, associate professor, now I'm full professor, and went from being the department chair of mathematics to the associate dean, and now I am the dean. That started in 2018. So that's been, a good journey, but I've enjoyed every moment of it.
I can tell, because you were sitting here giggling, really.
Yeah,
too often we don't really know what we want to do, right?
That's true.
And someone, a situation occurs where the tide changes, right?
Right, because I was not thinking about teaching at all. And so, so getting my master's, I thought I was going to go work for some industry or government job. And that has been my plan. I remember leaving Hampton when I graduated from Hampton as an undergrad. And I was in one of the senior superlatives there. And they asked what you're going to do once you leave. And that's what I said. I was going to go to my PhD and work for industry. That's what I said I was going to do. But never did it. I got changed to education. And so that's where I've been for my whole career, actually.
But it clearly was something that struck your spirit.
Yes.
For you to make that move.
Yes. I enjoyed working with the students. I enjoyed, sometimes they struggle with the mathematics. People say, oh, I hate math, don't like math. They struggle with it. But I enjoyed making that connection with the students, seeing the light go off. And I felt that I could explain it in such a way that they actually could get it and make it fun. And I do remember interviewing, even at Norfolk State the first day, because I had to interview with the president. And so at that time I had my master's, and he said, well, you're up here now, how are you going to relate to the students, teaching them at the whatever level you need? And I said, yes, that would be the challenge. And I always thought that I could make them see at whatever level, again, the fun part of math and connecting. And I would believe that they could do it. And so getting them over their fears is step number one, and then making it fun too.
But see, it's also, in listening to you, you have a connection and a love for these young people.
Yeah, that's why I've stayed as long as I have, right?
Yes.
And the one thing about being a dean, I'm not teaching now, but I do miss the classroom and listen to my department chairs, and they say, oh, the students now are different than, it's just the pandemic. I've been teaching since '87, but since the pandemic, these students are different. And so I haven't taught since the pandemic, but I still would welcome that challenge. I didn't see them. You just have to connect in different ways with the students. And so each class, although you may teach the same course each year, but each class have a different personality. Your approach is always different. And so that's always the excitement from semester to semester. Yeah.
And in looking in education, and we now have so much technology, how does that impact what is happening in that classroom?
Right. And so now it's incorporating the technology in the classroom as well. So back in 87, what would I do? Go there, chalkboard, give the notes or whatever. But now it's more or less incorporating other avenues of learning. And so now it's not just a chalkboard, And so now you have the technology that you put within the course as well, not just in the classroom when you're teaching. And of course, you have more group activities to get them involved as well. but not just in the 50-minute class lecture, but in
Okay.
things you do outside of the classroom, which is, again, different when I started in 87 as well. So
How
we have
so?
all these mathematics labs that are
Okay.
now required for students to do as part of the course. So it's like reinforcement. You give quizzes and you give homework, but these labs also prepare them for the test as well. And so they're required to do, again, software different companies have in terms of reinforcing the concepts in the class. And so
Okay.
they're forced to do those labs. So it's an extra way of reinforcing what you're covering in class and hopefully helping them to assist them to learn the concepts even better.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And some of the things that really concern me too, and it's been so long ago, in looking at our young people going into whatever their field, be it in engineering or something, what is the relationship with the colleges to the high schools? What kind of relationships are there to help them develop and to see where they're really going?
Right. And so we do a lot of outreach at North State University, whether we have students on campus or we have what's known as nanotechnology days for people in nanoscience that we have within the community. We have this past month, we had the math counts competition, which is a middle school math competition for our region that we host each year. And so we try to connect as much in all the areas and in the College of Science, Engineering, Technology. And let me say, in the College of Science, Engineering, Technology, I have 8 areas. So it's math, it's biology, it's chemistry, it's physics, nursing and allied health, mathematics, engineering, computer science, and technology. So it's a wide variety.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
I know. That's
That's
why
a
I'm
lot.
losing all my hair and it's becoming gray. It's a lot.
But you love it.
Yes.
You love it.
And so, right. So although my background's in mathematics, at Georgia Tech, we had to minor in something. So I minor in electrical engineering. And so I had that connection as well. And so, but I love the brevity of the areas, but it does allow us to do a lot in the community as well, especially the nursing and the healthcare, that we can do different events, blood pressure, and different health events that we do. So we connect to the community, and also, again, the K through 12 activities as well that we have on campus over the summer, but during the year as well. We had what's known as a Saturday science program where we would bring high school students over on the weekends, and we would do we do math and science, but back then I was mainly doing the math and for the students. But we try to reach out to the community and K through 12 with activities. Yeah,
that's good to hear, because a lot of times I went through some programs with summer camps and trying to get some of these kids to start thinking about STEM.
Yes.
But not every high school or middle school has some of that, you know.
Right.
And we've had these conversations with different friends of mine and looking at, there's so much going on around us. That's why we need to have them coming here so they can go down there and look at the exhibit hall, and to have people like you here to be able to share these experiences.
And
huge.
I brought my recruiter too, and so we have someone down there for the students as well.
That's even better.
Yeah.
That's even better. And so give us 3 things as takeaways for the young people who will be here this weekend.
Okay, and so I'm taking advantage of all the workshops that are here. Again, networking with other students, I would say that's very, very important. And I would say always stay, open to new things. I guess I was someone who wasn't afraid to do things that are different or out of the norm. And so I was always looking, oh yeah, I can go do that. Even if people, try to put you in a box, that's not me at all. Right. And so I've been all over the place. And so this, again, for the young people to be always inquisitive, and always looking for the next thing.
Yes.
Don't get stuck in doing one thing. Again, one thing I do like about my journey in Norfolk State is that I've done just about all the positions, in terms of instructor, assistant professor, associate professor, full professor, department chair, associate dean. It's like, if I didn't just stay at just strictly teaching, I probably would have gotten bored and probably would have done something else. But my ability, I guess, to do various things has kept me, excited about the job, and it's never a dull moment. Education.
But it's really clear because your passion comes out.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
It comes out day
Okay.
We know that you love those young people and
Mhm.
you've provided them those different opportunities. And that's what is necessary, that the people who are running these institutions love these young people and
Right.
helping them see the future.
And one of the reason why I'm here is to afford the students at Norfolk State the opportunities. So I'm connecting with industry partners here as well, government partners here as well, in terms of things that make the connection with Norfolk State and bring the opportunities to the students as well and faculty as
Exactly.
well.
That's
and
powerful.
So this is a great conference.
It is. It is.
I enjoy coming to it every year.
All right. Well, I guess we'll see you next year, and at least for the next
Yes,
couple of days.
That's right. For next year too.
Okay, next year as well. Thank you,
Okay.
Dean, so
You
much.
are so welcome.
I
I'm enjoying
really
it.
appreciate you.
Okay.
And really proud of you and all of the work that you're doing for our young people. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
This spring, we're launching Service to Nation, a national virtual job and career fair, a nationwide movement to connect America's high school students with careers of purpose, innovation, and service. From rural towns to urban schools, Service to Nation invites grades 10 through 12 to explore emerging fields like artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, and quantum computing, while meeting real employers, colleges, and national service organizations. Our message is clear: your future, your service, your nation. This campaign isn't just about jobs. It's about civic readiness, workforce development, and national impact. With videos, social content, and live experiences, we'll reach students where they are and give partners a platform to meet mission-driven young talent. Together, we'll inspire a generation to learn, serve, and lead. Service to Nation, a national virtual job and career fair. Learn more at servicetonation.org.
Welcome back, everyone. If you've just joined us, you're in the right place, and we're rolling. Now I want you to think about a question that nobody asked honestly in high school, at least anymore. What if college isn't the only way? What if there's a path where you can learn the most in-demand skills in America, get paid, let me say that again, get paid while you do it, and walk into a career without $30,000 of debt hanging over your head? This is not a fantasy. This is apprenticeship. And it's one of the most powerful and most overlooked pathways in America workforce today. That's our next segment, the importance of apprenticeship. Listen, apprenticeship is not just for trades anymore. There are registered apprenticeships in artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, cloud computing, advanced manufacturing, banking, healthcare. Major tech companies are hiring apprentices straight out of high school. I mean, the federal government is investing billions to expand these programs. Veterans can use their GI Bill for them. And here's the kicker. Apprentices earn an average of $77,000 a year after completion. Let me repeat that again. $77,000 a year after completion. No 4-year degree required. Veterans, if you're transitioning and looking to translate your skills into a civilian credential while getting paid, this is the play. Students, if you've been told there is only one path to success, and that path starts with a 6-figure loan, you've been told wrong. And the man stepping up to walk us through this is someone I am personally honored to introduce. Tyrone D. Taborn is the founder, chairman, and CEO of Career Communications Group, the organization making this entire experience possible for you today. For nearly 4 decades, he has been one of the most influential voices in this country on workforce development. He is the publisher of U.S. Black Engineer, Hispanic Engineer, and Women of Color STEM magazines. He's the co-founder of the legendary Bay STEM Awards. He's the visionary who built STEM City USA. And in 2019, he became one of the first African Americans to ever receive the National Science Board's Public Service Award. This man has spent his career opening doors. Today, he's going to show you one you didn't even know existed. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor. Please welcome Tyrone D. Taborn.
Thank you for that great introduction. I really appreciate it. To all of the students, teachers, and veterans, that are looking at this show right now, live in STEM City, USA. I want to tell you what this platform is all about. This platform is a workforce development. It is designed to bring you information and training about careers. We are now in a position where learning has to be realigned, where educational opportunities need to be realigned. It's a Jamaican term often used that says real results in a meaningful time frame. And that's what this platform is about. Dr. McCray spoke about learning, but what he really spoke about is lifelong learning. We now have more tools, next generational tools that bring us the most relevant knowledge we need at that particular time. And that's what this platform is all about. You may not get it right this second, but you will be able to go back later. You can any given time. On this platform, you will be able to do job simulations. What is a life like for an electrician? You will be able to do virtual reality. And more importantly, we're proud to announce that 365 days a year, we have a virtual job fair that is always up, always existing, so you can interact with different employers. But today, this moment, we really want to talk about that lifetime learning and another pathway and the kind of jobs that are open to you. You know, when I was in school, we had a lot of classes back then called shop classes. You could do print, which actually generated my interest in journalism and so much more. You could do auto, you could do metal, you could do home economics. You had to go through the entire routine. We've moved away a bit from those very important jobs that keep our nation running. So the STEM City platform, where you are now, is about introducing those jobs, telling you what those jobs are about, giving you the pathway, but more importantly now, showing these jobs, connecting them with the new technologies, artificial intelligence, quantum, cybersecurity. All of these things have made these opportunities even more important. So here to help me today is a very good friend, and he is a Maryland state senator. Senator Curry McCray's book, The Apprenticeship That Saved My Life, is about second chances, hard choices, and finding a real pathway forward. McCray grew up in Baltimore and faced serious challenges as a young person. Just like me, and like many of you out there, including school trouble, encounters with the justice system. But with his mother's support, he found an apprenticeship program that changed the direction of his life. His book explores that an apprenticeship is a way to earn money while learning a skill. For McCray, becoming an engineer, electrical apprentice gave him structure, mentorship, discipline, and a career. It helped him to move from a survival mode into a purpose. He later became a union electrician, entrepreneur, and now one of the most powerful Maryland state senators. For students, the big message is this: college, 4 years, or more is not the only path to success, but lifetime learning is. Apprenticeships can lead to strong careers in the fields like construction, technology, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, healthcare, public safety, and other growing industries. McCrae wants young people to know that learning a trade is not a backup plan. It can be a powerful first steps toward independence, financial security, and leadership. His book is also a guide. It encourages students to ask questions, to seek mentors, to avoid programs that make promises without results, and choose opportunities that lead to real jobs and real skills. Senator McCrae's story shows that when you start and where you start does not determine where you finish. Senator McCrae, welcome.
Boy, how you doing, sir?
I am doing great.
I appreciate you, man. I cannot thank you enough for the kind words, but I just think that you just hit everything for what I wake up each and every morning and try my best to stand for.
Senator, what would you tell young people when we just spoke a second about apprenticeships not being a backup?
Mm-hmm.
And I will share with you that I know that shipbuilding needs as many welders and electrical engineers, and that with the changing technology and our nation's falling behind in global leadership, how do we get a workforce out quicker? I mean, I don't think we can wait for 6, 8 years to keep generating people that don't necessarily align with the reality on the ground.
Yep. Dr. Taborn, I will start off by saying I think that this is a very important conversation. And I think it's an important conversation about access and exposure. What you're doing is you're exposing people to let them know that if you want to go to a 4-year university, we have a plethora of them in the state of Maryland, and I support that. But at the end of the day, if they are not going through some level of a university, then they need to have a skill that's going to get them to the next level. In apprenticeships, whether you're talking about construction, whether you're talking about tech, whether you're talking about health, whether you're talking about public safety, there are a number of different variations out there that is also a strong path forward. And I would say equivalent to that form of education. I'd also say to my young people that when I reflect back on my life, that it is our responsibility as adults to ensure that you reach your full potential. That's what I see you doing every day. And then I would share to them that you do not know what you do not know. And then I lean in and I say to folks that I can remember that when my mom, Renee McCrae did not know that she should send her son to kindergarten. So I started off in the 1st grade, Doc. And when I think about that, Dr. Taborn, I reflect back in all those educators that believed in Corey McCrae, and every day that I walked in Rognall Heights, I felt like I was great. I think about Miss Slide, I think about Miss Solomon, Miss McCoy, Miss Lanier, Miss Allen, my principal, Sarah Horsey, because every day I felt great. But there are these moments where they're transitions. And when our young people start navigating middle school, high school, they are hit with decisions. And these decisions say to them, who are my people? Where are my spaces? And how do I not succumb to peer pressure? When I reflect back on a lot of my decisions, I did succumb to that peer pressure, as you said. If folks would ask the question, was Corey McCrae put out of middle school in 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th grade? Most people would not believe that, Doc. If folks would say that Corey McCrae was wrapped up in the juvenile justice system at 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17, many people today would not believe that. Folks would then say Corey McCrae was wrapped up in the adult system twice before he can even turn 18 years of age. And I turned 18 years of age over Baltimore City Jail. Most people would not believe that, Dr. Taborn. But then I tell them, as you said, by the grace of God, I had a mother that did not give up on her son. It was my mother that reached out to the Maryland Department of Labor, said, send me every apprenticeship program in the state of Maryland. And when she did that, she handed me that packet, Doc. And I could not believe that the opportunity that would shift my trajectory will be 15 minutes from where I lived at my entire life. I could not believe that this thing that would shift my trajectory was rarely ever, if ever, discussed in my K through 12 experience. So this is very important conversation that we're having at this moment, and I look forward to unpacking a little bit more.
The reason we call this Service to Nation, Senator, is that every month we will be hosting this on a Friday, and then the following day is a program we have been running for over 6 years called Career Day. That's supported by the our alumni group of military leaders.
Nice.
And young people talk about careers. But this platform that is in STEM City, Baltimore, which you were, you actually sit on our Workforce Advisory Committee, and you actually, again, were able to get us funding for a second year. This is being developed by students and other people. The point is that at any given time, your mom can access those resources. Those resources that she had to go to the Maryland Department of Labor to find, they exist now on this digital twin.
Nice.
So throughout the day, what will happen for the young people and the teachers across the nation who are looking at this program, we will have a different leader coming in and talking about trade and apprenticeship programs. They will say what these jobs are, the pathway to get there, and then they will give direction to the virtual career fair. So there's things that kids and students and teachers will always have these resources. So we're scaling this up. But let me really focus in on something. You are probably one of the most powerful state senators, and I believe that that's only the beginning for you, my personal opinion. But how do we talk to all of these young folks, and particularly some men who are sitting around the class fidgeting right now and not believing that they are part of, that there's a pathway, but that they've already given up. That they've already given up in a system that has already said, has not validated them. And they don't know any better. When I grew up, I didn't have a father in my household. You don't know what you don't know. So some of the time you have, how do you talk to those young people out there and say, it's never over? You can always get into the game.
First, I just want to say thank you for what you're doing just to elevate the conversation, making sure that access to information is actually there. Like you said, for the teachers, the parents, the Renee McCrae's, the guidance counselors that's trying to help these young folks, these folks that are stuck, navigate in these challenging paths. Let me be clear, I do not make excuses, but I also recognize that the system is not set up for us to be successful. And there are some that cut through. Our job, Dr. Taborn, is to make sure that even more cut through. How do you make sure that more cut through? You let them know, I was you. I was at a very low place in life. I was at that point where I had given up. I tell folks that I was in a space just so that, and then I'm gonna go to your question. I can remember my last time. I had just finished a 10-month commitment, Dr. Taborn, out in Western Maryland in a space called Victor Cullen. I came back to the same neighborhood, same people, same conditions, expecting a different outcome. Outcome don't change. I'm in the Baltimore City Jail not even 30 days later after that 10-month commitment. And imagine a 17-year-old boy saying to his mother to just give up on him, that I'm too far gone. I don't see a path forward. Doc, my mom would say words that still shake me to this day. She say, Corey, I'm going to keep believing in you until you believe in yourself. And I tell my young people that you are the 5 people that you keep the most company of. And why wouldn't I think that this apprenticeship was real? First, they were telling me that 20 years ago, they were going to start me off at $12 an hour, then it matriculates to 15, then goes to 18, up until $32 an hour. Doc, I didn't think that that was true because the highest wage in my entire family was $35,000. So you're telling this young boy that he's going to double the wage if he continues to do what he's supposed to do over a 5-year period, double the highest wage in his family. Psychologically, mentally, I couldn't even see it because I had never saw it before. I also say to my young folks, walk towards the things that make you uncomfortable. Walk towards the things that make you uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable to walk into a workforce where many people didn't always look like me. But what I was able to do from that decision to be uncomfortable, as you stated, I learned new disciplines. I gained levels of mentorship. But more importantly, I was able to garner a skill that no one, and I mean no one, can take away from me. Nobody's coming in Corey McCrae's house, putting up ceiling fans, putting in light fixtures, putting in receptacles, because I spent 5 years doing it. And then the most important thing that I would say to my young people, after you figure out this access and exposure equation, after you figure out like how do you walk towards the uncomfortable, we have a responsibility to reach our hand back and grab 10 more. That's what we're doing today. We have, when I say you don't know what you don't know, we have a very clear understanding that sometimes zip codes are built to fail. Why do you have food insecurity? Why do you have a high concentration of vacant housing? Why do some public school housings look different than other zip codes? Why do you have public transportation that fails? All of these decisions are made from folks that have been able to crack through or have some level of privilege, and they don't always understand, which is why we have that responsibility of reaching our hand back. I have a lot of fun, Dr. Taborn, a lot of fun. I'm about to close up. As a state senator, I sit on the Budget and Taxation Committee. It's a $70+ billion budget. And imagine being one of 13 members that get to chop up a $70 billion budget and have it reflective of a city that poured so much into me, people that have poured so much into me, and that ability to make sure that we can crack that code so that Corey McCrae is not the only one across the finish line, but we're getting so many more people across it.
You know, it's so important in your book, and I don't want to walk away without you being able to describe, as you did in your book, the different types of apprenticeships. I think that's important for these young people and teachers in particular, guidance counselors. By the way, we, in our surveys, we have found that the person who made the least amount of difference in a lot of our kids' lives are, unfortunately, the guidance counselors, because they're overwhelmed. And they cannot see every student. So the person who makes the most influence are the real live models, such as yourself, that are out there in the community that the kids see. But can you explain, elaborate a little bit about the different types of apprenticeships?
Yep. So I'm going to hit the point that you hit, that you can't be what you can't see. So I never envisioned myself as an electrician, or I couldn't conceptualize it because I didn't know electricians. So I try my best to do what we're doing today. I stay in one of my schools at least once or twice a week, making sure that young folks that look like me can see a vision of themselves and know that they can do anything they put their mind to and get across that finish line. But as you talked about, there are variations. I'll start with construction and then I'll move to other occupations. I consistently have talked about being an electrician. So for the past 15, 20 minutes, I've talked about being in an electrical profession. But you have carpenters, you have roofers, you have painters, you have welders, you have plumbers and steam fitters, you have iron workers, you have so many different levels of trades, the building trades itself. And most people, when they think about apprenticeships, they think about construction. But let's start navigating the tech. You see that tech is taking over. And what happens is that young people are saying, I don't want to spend 4 or 5 years trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure out 18 months, 2 years, 3 years, and navigate these spaces of what we believe are the future. So you see a number of tech apprenticeship programs popping up. You see videology, so where folks are just learning from different video spaces of how to do it. We think about our public safety and government. Federal government and state government are injecting a significant amount of resources into apprenticeships because they know that they fell short. We went through this time in our country where it was college or bust, and all we did was promote a community college or a university. That was the only path. We're starting to recenter. You're starting to see government realize that there are other paths, and they're getting into it. So it's these public safety agents, the state troopers, the police departments are looking at how do we navigate new ways. The health department is another one. How do we navigate these new spaces to be able to ensure that these young folks, and what happens is, while we think that it builds out for the young folks, we're also building Maryland's economy. We're also building Maryland's workforce when we think through apprenticeships. And I hope that I articulated just the different variations and professions that there are in that apprenticeship space.
Senator, I want to give you the last word because it takes more than a platform like STEM City that believes in stackable certifications.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly when you went into your apprenticeship, AI, the way we use it today, did not exist, but AI has always been around,
mm-hmm.
and security and those kind of issues. So what we're attempting to do now is to show how do you integrate these new technologies into the apprenticeships, so that it's more than just your hands. It's also a lot of your brain work and being able to draft programs. But it does take a lot, and you've done a considerable amount. Can you talk about some of your legislation wins in this area and support of some other pieces that you've done?
Mm-hmm. So some of the things that I think about from a legislative space and apprenticeships, and then I'm gonna move to businesses and now responsibility as businesses. So I think about, like, this ain't even a legislative win. One of the things that I thought about was we do colleges and university tours all the time. And I questioned, why don't we do apprenticeship tours? So we spend so much time. I was like, it's not even hard. It's low hanging fruit. I then found an organization, College Bound, that said, you know what? We know how to organize students. We can get the permission slips. We can get the buses. But can you connect us with the apprenticeship? I said, say no more. For the last 7 years, we've been taking young folks from City Neighbors, Dunbar, NAV, Reach Partnership, and then you saw Mervo, Carver, folks start to pile on afterwards. And these young folks are seeing what plumbers and steam fitters, operating engineers, electricians, and carpenters do, and they're spending time in those spaces. They then start to own those spaces and know that they belong. They get to see other young people that's currently going to school when you go to school one day every 2 weeks, and you work on a field, and then they can visualize themselves in these spaces themselves. The smart ones, Dr. Taborn, when they're going through the apprenticeship program and touring that site, usually they're meeting with the training director and assistant training director. They'll get that card. They'll shoot an email afterwards, say it was great to see you, and I look forward to joining your program. For the smart ones there. Then I think about like things like a driver's license. So I can remember, I told you that I stay in one school at least once a week. I can remember being at Achievement Academy and asking the young people, if you were senator for one day, what's one thing you would change about your school? Young man raises his hand out the table and said, I would have driver's ed at my school. I stood out front that school building for about at least 30 minutes and just processed what he said. I said, in order to get through that apprenticeship, I needed to have a high school diploma or GED. I needed to be 18 years of age. I needed to have a 1 year of algebra, but I also had to have a driver's license. Dr. Tabor, we took those same young people down to Annapolis to testify before the House of Delegates and the Maryland State Senate. Those same young people watched Governor Westmore sign their bill, where now in the budget is a $2 million appropriation in perpetuity. So that's there until someone removes it, to make sure that schools with a concentration of poverty of at least 40% have the opportunity to have dollars to apply for, to have driver's ed at their schools. We've seen 538 this year in Baltimore City Public Schools. So that's not the other 23 jurisdictions, but in Baltimore City Public Schools, we now have 538 young folks that have the benefit of having driver's ed before they graduate high school. Simply because one young man had the courage to do something uncomfortable and say, if I was senator for a day, I would have driver's ed in my school.
You know, it's amazing. I mean, we had that when I grew up in the schools. And I'm not sure people realize what all these budget cuts really mean, and what the population we see today were some of the foolish decisions we made yesterday. Well, Senator, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Yes, sir.
You're a great example, and I hope that our young people and teachers who watch this, when you look out there at these kids, you never know what they can be, but what they need is for you to believe in them. Thank you, Senator, for having that belief.
Dr. Taborn, thank you. Thank you for always amplifying the voices, but more importantly, thank you for your mentorship and your leadership for our community.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Back to you, Vic.
The future isn't waiting. It's calling on students ready to step up. It's calling on you to serve communities, to explore careers, to build what comes next. Service to Nation, a national virtual job and AI training connects students to real pathways, real skills, and real purpose. College bound or not, your future belongs here. Discover what's possible. Visit servicetonation.org.
They deny me to feel like, they deny me to dream, they deny me to fire, but I still believe in me. When I looked at my pain, I could finally see a vision in the code. The STEM city believe.
They said the system ain't built for my shine, but I'm breaking through firewalls, redesigning the line where they closed every door. We built one in time, virtual city, real hope. Now the future is mine. I was locked out the light, boxed out the dream. Now I'm coding my worth. It's a new regime. Metaverse halls full of knowledge and pride. From Baltimore to the world, we rise and we strive.
STEM City USA, you're here for me. Where the future's alive and the youth run free. It's a place of promise, it's a place to be. A place where no one can ever deny me. This is more than tech, it's destiny. STEM City USA, you're setting me free.
We're going to finish up, and we're going to continue our conversation about AI and your future. So I have a couple examples, different industries that we'll walk through. I know we had good discussion, everybody kind of sharing their career goals, things like that, and how AI can be used in that particular career. So the first one we're going to talk about is healthcare, and I'm going to go through these pretty quickly, but I just want to at least show it. So healthcare in general is becoming a lot smarter, because what's happening is that doctors are using data to help be more informed about their patients, faster, and more personal. So let me give you some examples. So back in the day, if you wanted to get a doctor's appointment, generally you have to call the doctor and set up the appointment. These days, a lot of offices are online. You can just go online, schedule your appointment, things like that. So faster. But as you can see in some of the bullets, AI is being used to detect diseases through image analysis, pattern recognition. Breast cancer is an easy one that's being used, but others as well. Predicts patient outcomes. If the patient does these things, here's potentially how successful those plans would work. And then automating some of the admin tasks, like I said, scheduling, doctor's visits, things like that. I even mentioned the example I did a couple weeks ago where the doctor used voice and used a voice recording to actually create the notes for the visit. So a lot more, a lot more automated. So engineering manufacturing, we talked about that as well. For example, if you're a company like GE or even a company that makes cars, being able to detect failures as you're producing these vehicles, it can be used for that. Optimizing design through simulation. This was the example I brought up about aerospace. As engineers are designing technology and products, it can be used to actually run the simulations and do it all virtually before it has to be physically built. So that allows these companies to save time, save money, and reduce risk. And all the businesses I work for, we've done similar things.
Hi, how
Hello.
are you today?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
So tell us about you and who you are and where you're from and what you've been doing.
I'm Karan Duncan. I am originally born in Trinidad and Tobago. We were just talking about that.
Yes, we were.
I've always wanted to be an engineer, and I am an engineer. So that's my background. I went to Morgan State University.
Right on.
Local. And then also went into aerospace and defense after I graduated.
Oh.
And actually today I celebrate 25 years in aerospace and defense to this day.
That is
actually
wonderful.
Yeah.
What company are you with?
So I work with Northrop Grumman.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So I've been there for a while. And also my wife and I, we have a career coaching business because throughout our career, we had a lot of folks who mentored us and coached us, and we want to provide that back to all the students that we're seeing today. So
that is huge. So you have a booth set up downstairs?
We do. We've been doing resume reviews all morning. I've probably looked at about 20 resumes so far.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes.
So is this your first BEA?
It's not my first BEA, but my first BEA representing my wife and I's business and really supporting students from that standpoint. Because even in past years when I would attend, and I've got awarded here as well, I would review resumes, thanks. But now it's like, no, this is actually why I'm here.
Yes.
It's to help students, college grads land that role.
So we just finished up on some of the skills. Now here's the action plan. And this is something that I'm asking everyone here to consider moving forward. And it's only 3 steps. Stay and get curious. So you're here, so I'm assuming you're curious already. Stay curious. And try to look for AI in your daily routine. Get practical. So this is actually using the tools or some of the tools that we talked about today. Get familiar with them, use them, explore them, understand how they work, use them to solve a real problem. Get strategic. Actually, let me go back to get practical. I was talking to someone earlier. One of the use cases that I was just doing it last night, I want to go on a vacation. So I asked Claude, I said, hey, here are some of the things that I want to do. I want to find a vacation place. I want to do these things, be by the beach, whatever the case is. I want to do it in June. And it gave me a host of different examples, costs, all these things, which was fantastic, a great starting point. But it also forgot to mention that some of these resorts are closed. So when I finally went into the details, I was like, wait a minute, this one is closed because of hurricanes and things like that. I was like, oh, you're right, I made a mistake. Let me revise the list. And then it gave me a better output, right? So again, get practical. Use it for very, very basic things so you can better understand how it works. Get strategic. And we talked about that one-on-one as well. How can you use it in your particular career, and how could it impact you in good ways or not so good ways? But the better thing is for you to at least understand it and start thinking about it. Let's go back to the top very quickly. So I know there's one more that they can do. Decide. It can decide. And what does that mean? It means act. Yes. Exactly. It takes the information, looks at the pattern, and it does an action, right? So when you see drones flying around, and many of them are autonomous, they fly on their own, that's the action, right? It can act, it can decide. Excellent. Well, that's it, everybody, unless y'all have something else to ask me. This was great. Thank you all. I know it's a bright and early Saturday morning, but I appreciate it. Love all the questions, all the interactions, and I'll be here for a little bit if y'all have additional questions. So, thank you all.
Where the future's alive and the youth run free. It's a place of promise, it's a place to be. A place where no one can ever deny me. This is more than tech, it's destiny. Steam City, USA. You're setting me free.
In the pain I found purpose, in the code I found peace. Digital twins of our dreams never cease. From Thurgood Marshall halls to AI streets, we teaching every child their worth runs deep. No limits.
And now, please welcome our next guest.
Karen Duncan is a senior business and technology executive and executive coach with more than 2 decades of experience leading enterprise transformation, innovation, and mission-critical operations across complex, highly regulated environments. He is the co-founder of Career Factory 360 and is known for translating strategy into executable outcomes through disciplined leadership, financial stewardship, and secure, scalable technology solutions.
Oh, you ready? Okay. Hi. How are
Hello.
you today?
I'm doing very well. How are
Good.
you?
So tell us about you and who you are and where you're from and what you're doing.
Coran Duncan. I am originally born in Trinidad and Tobago. We were just talking about that.
Yes, we were.
I've always wanted to be an engineer, and I am an engineer. So that's my background. I went to Morgan State University.
Right on.
Local. And then also went into aerospace and defense after I graduated.
Oh.
And actually today I celebrate 25 years in aerospace and defense to this day.
That is
actually.
wonderful.
Yeah.
What company are you with?
So I work with Northrop Grumman.
Oh, great.
Yes, I've been there for a while. And also my wife and I, we have a career coaching business because throughout our career, we had a lot of folks who mentored us and coached us, and we want to provide that back to all the students that we're seeing today. So
that is huge. So you have a booth set up downstairs?
We do. We've been doing resume reviews all morning.
Oh,
I've probably looked at about 20 resumes so far.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes.
So is this your first BEA?
It's not my first BEA, but my first BEA representing my wife and I's business and really supporting students from that standpoint. Because even in past years when I would attend, and I've got awarded here as well, I would review resumes, thanks. But now it's like, no, this is actually why I'm here.
Yes.
It's to help students, college grads land that role.
And that's very powerful.
Thank you.
Because you don't have to do that. You don't.
Right.
And so when people volunteer, it's because they're giving from their heart and they see a need.
Absolutely.
And that's required. So in order for us to be able to bring people, they have to understand what's necessary.
Absolutely.
And sometimes I think when we look at some of these young people's parents, if they don't even know what they don't know, how can we get them from here?
That's right.
So having you here and having conversations with people who are in the community that are coming here, that's what's powerful because it's what's necessary.
Absolutely. Very necessary.
It really is.
Yeah.
Have you been to BEA before?
I have many years.
Great.
Yeah, I've been lots of times and I love the experience.
Yeah.
First and foremost, you can't top it. And then also, I love the connections that you make along the way. So this, I don't even know what number this is. Probably like 10 or 11.
That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. You just keep counting.
Keep counting. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
And then also, one of the things I love about it is the connections with students because you see the improvement. Like looking at resumes today, amazing backgrounds.
Really?
There's some really talented students here.
Like what? Give me a couple examples.
So AI, big one. So I'm seeing a lot of students who are going off on their own and learning about machine learning, learning about AI and how it applies to the actual majors that they have. So they might be in electrical engineering or mechanical engineering, but they're looking at ways that AI can actually enhance their degrees. This is something they're doing on their own.
Really?
Which is very exciting to
So
see.
they've identified that there is a whole category of AI.
Yeah. And not only that, but also it's impactful to their careers, which they haven't even started yet.
Right.
So they're already, I like to say, disrupt before you're disrupted. So they're trying to disrupt themselves before they enter the job market and realize, oh, wow, things are different than when I started as a freshman, which is going to be the case.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then you have to pivot.
Exactly. So why do that instead of yourself directing your own pivot, right? You don't want someone else to come and say, hey, these skills aren't necessary anymore. Change. You want to say, I know I need to augment, I need to change, I need to transform, and then you're deliberate about it.
Yes.
And that's the key.
Excuse me. And being deliberate takes away a lot of the mistakes that you don't even recognize.
That's right.
So if you're deliberate and you're paying attention to what's on that paper or in that book, you will then be able to take a walk away like, wait a minute, I learned these 3 things. Let me change that.
Absolutely.
Or bring it to somebody that you know. When I was coming up, you know, I was grown, but there were 4 ladies who absolutely, they were my mentors.
Wow.
And they were all grown. And they just took me everywhere, showed me everything, introduced me. And it was so unbelievable that they would take that time. And one day, and Hilda Ford was the Secretary of Human Services or something with the city, I mean with the state. And one day she said, I need you to just be aware of everything that you're doing. Don't just flippantly turn a page. Don't just make a stupid phone call. Sit down and take the time and be deliberate about every single thing that you do. And it was Hilda Ford, Ann Emery, Hilda Ford, Ann Emery, Margaret Armstrong, and I have one more. And those women were, and they were all old. Hair was white,
Wow.
Have done really one incredible, oh my goodness, but they took me under their wing. It wasn't an organization, form. It was just these mentors that believed that I got to give her name, Carol Seibel.
Okay.
And Carol Seibel. So, and she was Jewish.
Okay.
And so those women found time for me to go to places where they were having meetings, or go to places where she wanted to make introductions, or somebody wanted to make. They laid out a plan, because I'm not from Baltimore.
They're connecting well.
They connected me to all the things that they thought were important that I should go to, that people I should meet, events I need to attend, so that I was welcomed into the city of Baltimore.
Wow, that's amazing.
It was amazing. And they're all gone now.
Yeah.
They're
now
all
you're
gone.
That person.
Now I'm that person. And I'm bringing them. Bringing them. But that's what we're supposed to do.
I feel the same.
And we don't know. So what do you do about having people that you work with or support you, or do you support them? Or
the same, yeah. I like what you said about bringing people with you.
Yeah.
So those experiences, those meetings, those conversations, just having someone be there, be present, I think is the first step, because it takes it from just being or a recommendation to actually being something tangible. So I think that's really great. I do the same thing. And also the intentionality behind what you do, which is what you said, right? You don't just do things just to do them. You're doing them because there's a certain North Star that you're trying to go towards. And these things just come together and form that, right? So I think that intentionality, being deliberate about that is important. And for us, and my wife and I, in our business, one of the key things we do is we wrote a book last year. We published a book.
Oh,
so that
wonderful.
was pretty cool. But in that book, it actually has, in front of it has a star, a North Star.
I love it.
And the whole idea that it has a path towards it is because we all have dreams, we all have visions for ourselves.
Yes.
But we should. But a lot of people don't actually write it down and think through how to hold themselves accountable to accomplishing their goals.
That's
That's
when
the
you
key.
look in the mirror.
That's
What's
right.
that reflection?
Exactly.
Right, and that's huge.
Huge. Yeah.
It's huge.
So you got to lay that foundation, that blueprint. What you saw is the same thing that we've actually taken the time to write down and said, okay, here's the blueprint that worked for us. Maybe it'll work good for you as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you have that in your book.
Yes, we do. It's a
I love
workbook.
it.
So it's not just you read it.
I love
You actually
it.
got to write some stuff in there and walk through the process.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes.
So, okay, so you really have to be committed to.
Yes.
So this ain't something you can just shoot from the hip.
We talk about our lives, right?
That's exactly right.
So it's that important. It's that important. And not just our lives, it's also everyone else, our family, our history, right? The people that come behind us, our lineage, even. So it's more important than even just ourselves, right? It's actually selfless, because we may never even get to that North Star, but those behind us might actually have a chance because of the work we put in.
And that's exactly right, because you really trailed that blade.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And sometimes you move some of that away just
right.
to be able to get through it.
Right.
And it's so important because we don't always know what we don't know.
Absolutely. You got to go through the process to figure it out. A lot of the uncertainties, like people call it fog of war, right? You don't know what it is until you go through it. And once you've done it, leave something behind for others to be like, don't go through there. Here's the path
That's
now.
exactly
so
right.
you can take it.
And you don't have an option.
That's right. No experimentation. Yeah.
You either go there or you not.
Right.
Right. You in or you out.
That's right.
And that's real.
Yeah. I love
We
that.
don't always want to deal with that, but that's
It's
life.
true. It's
so
true.
what's the next 10 years for you?
Yeah, so I'm looking at, okay, what's next for me in my career? So I have some thoughts and some
Okay.
opportunities that I'm looking into
All
when
right.
it comes to that. But then from a career coaching standpoint, I'm looking to how do we actualize? So we wrote the book, that's great, fantastic. But now how do we get it out there?
Yeah.
So we've been connecting with some universities. The Inroads program is
Oh,
one, you may have heard of that.
I remember
So
that.
we have a couple opportunities there that we're going to pursue to just kind of make ourselves more well known in those communities. Also provide that resource
Oh, that's
to
wonderful.
college students and high school students so that they're ready because the world is changing that they need to know.
Oh, it is. It's moving.
Absolutely.
It's really
Yeah.
moving. I was talking to some people a couple months ago, and she was just saying to me that her son decided he wanted to quit school.
Wow.
And she said that, like, I'm going to put you on punishment, kind of that
Right.
type of attitude. And so when she said that, and I was like, so why are you coming with all of the anger opposed to, because you're pushing them off,
Right.
opposed to bringing them on
Right.
and bring them closer and sharing what some of those painful things are,
Exactly.
but they can be changed if you're doing some
Right.
investigation
That's
and you
right.
have some kinds of conversations.
Right.
At the end of that, the woman said, John has really decided that he wants you to be his mother. I ain't being boy.
Right.
We laughed about it, but
It's a mindset thing too. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
right.
Yeah.
So there's some changes that needs to happen in that household, and I'm not privy to it, and I don't want to be.
Right.
I'm not a psychiatrist or
Right.
whatever, but there are things that we have to be able to bring to support these
Absolutely.
young people who don't have a clue,
Mhm.
and they're going through this
Discovery.
this
Right.
pain. And
Mhm.
this little boy, through the Ailey program that I was involved in, he
Mhm.
said, Marsha, you always trying to make everybody happy. I don't even see myself living past 15. This little
Mhm.
boy's in my head for I don't know how many years.
Wow.
I don't know how many years.
Wow.
And so you sit down and we look at what's going on,
Mhm.
and we have a lot of issues nationally.
Right. To address. Yep.
Nationally.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important that we, whatever organizations, we need to draw a circle around them and bring
Right.
them around so that these young people have hope.
Right. And there's hope.
Oh,
There
there
is hope.
is, but you've
Yeah.
got to have
Mm-hmm.
those young people supported to be able to deal with whatever they have to overcome
Right.
in that household.
That's right.
And that's
in the world too. Like 'cause
in the world.
once they leave the
That's
household,
exact-
there's a whole nother.
It's a whole
aspect.
nother kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yes.
It's a whole nother kind of
That's
thing.
good. Yeah.
It's powerful though.
Yeah. Truly enjoying our conversation.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So that's what's next for me. So
Okay.
continue expanding, and then looking for other opportunities for us to connect with students and schools and organizations that have similar mindsets, similar objectives.
Are you dealing with boys? All boys?
Girls as well.
Girls and
yeah.
boys?
Mhm. Yeah, and this is more like college students
Okay.
right now.
Okay.
But we want to see what else is out there when it comes to high school, because I think that when it comes to gaining skills and being
Yes.
ready professionally,
Yes.
it really starts a little bit earlier. Because by the time they're coming, like the students I talked to today, they all have their degrees or they're getting their degree.
Okay.
So they're at the end, right? So now they're looking for
now
jobs. Right. So versus being a little bit earlier in the timeline, like maybe entering university, entering a college, or maybe looking for certifications or skills to gain.
Right.
When you said about dropping out of school, I started thinking about whether students are going to college or trying to get certificates, and there's pros and cons to both.
Yeah.
But that is something to be considered right now, right? So what advice do you give a high school student who may have certain things they want to do, but they're not sure if college is the path?
Right.
and what are the other options that exist today that could help them get there.
And I agree, but I think there's also in identifying some of these companies
Yes.
that have entry-level kinds of
Absolutely.
programs.
Yes.
But moreover, we need to have, excuse me, have those connections in different cities.
Absolutely. Because it's more than just what you see
no
around
question.
you. Yes, absolutely.
No question. And
Absolutely.
it's necessary.
Yeah, even globally, I started thinking about that, right?
Yeah.
Globally, there's a professor, he actually was recognized at Bayer as well. He's looking at how we expanding and have more collaboration with research facilities in Africa, right? Different
Wow.
African countries. So that way it's more than just what we see even, nationally.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's similar challenges, similar backgrounds, experiences. What if we partnered? What if we collaborated? And then start to have people from here go there, people from there,
Right. I think it's a wonderful idea.
Yeah, so just more than that.
The other thing is one of the things we don't do, we get caught in this whole religious thing. But if we were to look at some of these churches
Absolutely, yeah.
and identifying one or two people in those churches who are open
Right.
to that. I mean, I think it's important that
Because
you
you tap
have
into the
the
community.
religion, but
Yeah.
there's also the other pieces. Now what? Where? How do you
That's a
take
great
it
point.
next?
That's a great point.
That's huge.
Right. That's a great
And,
point.
I mean, I had a conversation. The pastor was standing at the doors. And I'm not a member, but it's a church that's close to my house.
Okay.
And so I thought, I need to get. My church is way on the other side. Maybe I'm talking to myself. I go in there, and the guy started telling me what all he thought I should be doing, and I was like, okay, but the Bible didn't say all that. This is what I'm, so I go through.
Right.
Let me do. I'll come back another time.
Right.
And what I had to do was think about what I really had experienced in the way in which they brought me in and asked all the visitors to stand.
Right.
But then the way the conversation was made about once you're standing, so now everybody sees you,
Right.
and you have this whole thing that you have expectation where you're from the pulpit asking, it was
I see.
over the top.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't say anything. I just sat there. I wasn't going to get up and leave, but I did when the service was over.
Right.
And so one of the women came up to me because I had my coat on. I was putting my coat on as I was leaving. She said, "Where are you going? And, we want to talk to you." And I said, "I don't need to really let me come to church when I get ready, and then we'll be okay."
Right.
But the point of all of that is it's not just church.
Right.
It's communities.
Absolutely.
It's people. And
Yeah.
you have to look at who they are, where they are, and what that impact looks like. And, at some point I'll find my church home.
Yeah. But I like your point, though, because churches do connect to the communities. So, I've often thought about how to better partner with pastors, even when it comes to STEM.
Yeah.
Even when it comes to STEM, because
they should be involved.
They have a different connection into families and communities than I would if I come here or go to a STEM event somewhere. So it is something I should think more about that. But that's a great point. So
it really is.
Yeah.
And that pastor and his support system,
Right.
whatever it is, they have to be straight up and having it open where my heart feels like it's open. I don't want you giving me that much pressure.
Right.
When I'm still trying to decide where I want to be, and if I even want to be at this church, you know what I mean?
I hear you,
But it's important, and it could be even better if you do it more welcoming, opposed to dictating what you think I should do.
Right.
And the only reason why is I can walk to the church, so I'm saying, okay, I can go to church, and, because I had stopped going to a couple of other churches that I had membership, and there was the church that I love, Mr. died.
Okay.
So I've just been like a lost child trying to find that right place.
I'm sure you will.
I will.
Yeah.
I will. But it's real.
Right. It is. What are your thoughts like as I see the conference, Bea? What does it look like moving forward?
I would imagine, and I used to be the president of the company, and now I'm a consultant.
Okay.
And I see that there are a lot of things that are going on that are black and white kinds of things.
Sure.
There's a lot of issues that some of these corporations may not really be like they were. That they may not be doing the ads or doing the exhibit space like they used to.
Yeah, sure. Yes.
And so you've got to develop those relationships where they're comfortable, because a lot of these that are in these businesses, United Technologies, Xerox, but I used to set up military exhibits for the Marine Corps.
Right.
And they're not even doing what they used to do.
Okay.
So, times are changing, but people have to pivot.
Yeah.
The community has to pivot.
Absolutely.
The parishioners have to pivot and be ready for what God is sending.
Right.
For real.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I look at the conference and I think one area I would love to see more of is the technical side. Because like I was saying, I'm reading these resumes, accomplished students. So maybe giving them an opportunity to present. Because that way a business may say, I can come and really see what students have to offer based on what they can talk about, they could present, they could articulate. And then maybe that's another, because it can connect the student to the business goals.
So maybe you want to get in touch with
Tyrone. So I saw him at the WOC, and I mentioned a little bit of it. He said he was going to reach out, but I hope to see him again this weekend.
Well, all you got to do is call the office.
Okay, I'll do that.
Communications.
I will do it.
410-244-7101.
7101?
7101.
Got it.
You call over there and ask for him and tell him that you want to meet with him.
I will.
I think that would be something that you want to see. And if he's not available, he'll refer you.
Okay. Love it.
I don't work there anymore. I'm just a consultant now.
Yeah.
This is what
But
I
an influential consultant, I'm sure.
I'm sorry?
Influential consultant.
Oh, no, I just talk. I just talk. That's all I do. I don't get nobody nothing. I just talk. That's easy.
Okay.
That's the easiest way. All right. Thank
Marsha,
you
thank
so
you for your
much.
time.
I
really
appreciate you sitting
As
down.
always.
Stay in touch.
Will do. Thank
right.
you. All right. Take care.
This spring, we're launching Service to Nation, a national virtual job and career fair, a nationwide movement to connect America's high school students with careers of purpose, innovation, and service. From rural towns to urban schools, Service to Nation invites grades 10 through 12 to explore emerging fields like artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, and quantum computing, while meeting real employers, colleges, and national service organizations. Our message is clear: your future, your service, your nation. This campaign isn't just about jobs. It's about civic readiness, workforce development, and national impact. With videos, social content, and live experiences, we'll reach students where they are and give partners a platform to meet mission-driven young talent. Together, we'll inspire a generation to learn, serve, and lead. Service to Nation, a national virtual job and career fair. Learn more at servicetonation.org.
Taborn. Welcome back, everybody. We've talked about commerce. We've talked about apprenticeship. Now let's talk about the thing that powers all of it. You know, when you flip on a light switch, when you plug in your phone, when an entire data center fires up to train an AI model, none of it works without one industry doing its job at scale, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. That industry is energy and utilities. And here's what nobody told you in high school. This is one of the most exciting, fastest changing, highest demand career sectors in America right now. The grid is going through the biggest transformation it has seen in a century. For all of you other folks, that's 100 years. Renewables, EV infrastructure, AI-powered grid management, smart meters, cybersecurity for critical infrastructure. And on top of all of that, the utility industry is facing a massive wave of retirements, which means thousands of high-paying jobs are opening up across this country right now. Veterans, utilities are the most veteran-friendly employers in America. Your discipline, your safety mindset, and your operations experience. This is exactly what this industry is hungry for. Students, if you ever want a career that lets you work with cutting-edge technology and feel like you're literally keeping the country running, this is your lane. And to walk through it all, we have a man who built his entire career around one mission: connecting people, passion, and purpose. Cornell Johnson is the Director of Community Engagement and Strategic Partnerships at the Center for Energy Workforce Development, the national organization working hand in hand with America's utilities to build the energy workforce of the future. He is a transformational strategic leader, a workplace change agent, and a builder of the kind of partnerships that move entire industries forward. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Cornell Johnson.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm very, very, very excited to be with you all today. I'm hoping that this little bit of time that we're together can be more interactive and less of a monologue. So you're not just hearing me blow hot air at you all. So as questions arise, please feel free to pop those into the chat. And I'm sure they'll make sure that those get to me, and I'm happy to pause, or we can drive the conversation in a different direction if that feels more appropriate or more applicable in any way. So in the energy sector is very broad. It's very vast. It is home to everybody from GEDs to PhDs. And with that, there are a plethora of different career paths, professions, and everything in between, and that looks like. So yes, we have engineers. Yes, we have people who work on the grid and climb poles. But we also have attorneys. We have human resources professionals. We have accountants. We have civil engineers. We have electrical engineers. We have technicians. We have meter readers. We have people who obviously need their commercial driver's license. We have everything in between that you can think of that any other industry has. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about what some of those pathways look like, and just what some of those opportunities look like, and just why you should even just be looking at this industry differently, or just giving it a little bit of a nod. So I have a presentation ready that I'm going to flip through a little bit here today. And some of this we're going to flip through a little bit faster, just because some of it is a little bit more granular than what I think you all need here today. But we're going to try to stay very high level, 30,000 foot view. What is this industry? What is it about? What do we do? What do we represent? And how can you tap into that? So you heard a little bit about everything that this industry is focusing on. He mentioned that this industry has a beautiful representation of veterans, so much so that it is double the national average of any other industry, in which we're really, really proud of that. But we're going to talk a little bit about everything and what those pathways are. So you have everything in different verticals and generation sources and fuel sources. So those are your natural gas, your LNG, your liquefied natural gas. LNG is a huge export for us here in America, and we make a lot of money on that in America by exporting it to different countries. So you have your natural gas as a generation source. You have nuclear, you have hydrothermal, you have hydro, you have geothermal, you have offshore and land-based wind, which is part of your renewable sector that you start to see, which includes solar. You have electrification, which is going to be all of the EVs, the electrical vehicles that you see coming around. And all of those things require three things. They require infrastructure, they require electrons and capacity on the grid, and they require people who are going to do the work and get it done. So as we go through this here, again, feel free to stop me. Feel free to jump in wherever you guys would like to. So this is just a little bit about CWD and who we are. CWD is a national nonprofit, but we are agnostic to the different generation sources. So if you've paid attention to energy at all over the last few years, there are a lot of competing priorities even within the industry. And so you have folks who are very loyal and passionate about oil and gas, and then you have folks who want to decarbonize the grid, decarbonize our country, and really focus on more of a renewable and a cleaner energy source with a lower carbon footprint. And so we are agnostic. We represent everybody across the entire sector. And in our membership and in our representation, we represent about 90% of the entire energy industry. And so here where you see kind of this alphabet soup of organizations here, those are different trade associations. And every organization, if you will, they have a trade association in which they belong to. And that trade association, they do a lot of their bidding for them here in DC on the Hill, from a policy perspective, from a legislative perspective. Think more of global strategy, local execution. And these trade associations help with that global strategy for their specific vertical within the sector, if that makes sense. And all of those trade associations belong to us, and they help guide our body of work. So here, we're going to jump in right here, because I think this is what we all know to be kind of the most important data set here when we're all thinking about our careers, our jobs, and where we're going to be, is money. How much money can you make, and when can you make it? The energy sector is one, like I said before, home to everybody from GEDs to PhDs. And so I say that again to raise the point that you don't have to go to college and complete a 4-year degree to earn a living wage and to have a middle-class income and to live a beautiful, comfortable life. And we have line workers. I'm just going to give you this example here. We have line workers in this industry. And so your line workers are the folks that go up in the bucket trucks and they're working on the power lines outside of your house or on the street, what have you. And not in year one, but we have line workers who eventually, with overtime, they're making anywhere from $200,000 to $400,000 per year with no college degree, with no student loan debt. They are going in and they're making these wages. But let me put an asterisk next to that and say this. It is often thought that college is hard, it's rigorous, and if you go into the skilled trades and you go into these other verticals and opportunities, that it's going to be a lot easier. Energy is not necessarily an easy industry to work in or to work for. A lot of the testing required to be in this space is very rigorous. It is difficult. It is a lot of math. It is a lot of electricity. It is a lot of calculations. It is a lot of things. But on the other side of that, you're compensated very handsomely. So here in this slide here, you'll see a little bit of some of the components and what the median wage is, just kind of a couple years into your career here. And I don't know where a lot of you are. I think a lot of you are across the country, but depending where you are, these wages go a long way in a lot of middle America, Mountain West, the South. So if you're not in the New Yorks, Californias, DCs, those very, very expensive and very rich metropolises, these wages go very, very far. Here's just a little bit looking forward, why we need you all, right? And so once upon a time, the workforce, people will go to a job, go to a company, and they would work for that company for 30 years, retire, and then live a beautiful life. That's not what it is anymore. Folks switch jobs every 3 to 5 years, and we know that. We understand that, and we want to prepare for that. But now we have the boomers, and we have the Gen X's and everybody that is now pushing closer and closer to retirement. And with that, there's an opportunity and a surge and a need for workforce. And so you'll see here in that top bullet point that 40% of the utility workforce is going to retire in the next 4 years, or at least they'll be eligible for retirement. And so with that, there is a huge vacuum and huge opportunity and a huge need for folks to come into this space. And the way that we're welcoming folks into this space is ever evolving, right? Change moves at the speed of trust, but change also moves at the speed of opportunity and necessity. And right now, with all of the AI resources and tools and campaigns that are coming online, the way that we do the work is changing, right? And we need people who are forward thinking and are able to come up with innovative solutions to do the job differently. I'm going to give you a couple of examples of what that can look like. And hopefully one day we work together and we can put some of these practices to use. But gone are the days where we have meter readers, people who go around to your house, they hold a meter up to your door or to the little meter on the side of your house, and they tell you what your usage has been for that month or that quarter, what have you, and they bill you. That's becoming automated. We have automated AI solutions that are now helping with storm prep and storm recovery. If you live in the Gulf South, you know how hurricane season can be. And now we have tools that can show us what trees and vegetation pose the most risk to power lines and be able to address that before the storm comes in. In the West, you know about wildfires. We have AI solutions and drones that are able to scan and survey areas and see where there's heat signatures that are already building underground and put a fire out before it even starts. We have robotic dogs that are going into nuclear plants and nuclear facilities and doing 3D mapping and things of that nature, where we're able to significantly reduce the amount of radiation that a human body or human person is exposed to. And so being able to play with some of these toys is absolutely amazing. It's very cool. And I would absolutely encourage you all, even now, to go and visit one of your utility companies or a power plant and just learn how they're using some of these really cool toys. Data centers. A lot of this is around innovation in data centers. We all know that data centers are here, they're going to be here, and they're going to keep coming. But how the energy industry is looking at data centers and what that means from two different lenses is really what I'm going to speak on for just a moment here. One is from a workforce lens, right? Will data centers be a net workforce, a net job creator, basically? And from the infrastructure lens, absolutely. Somebody has to build them. And so we are seeing such a surge, as you saw 1 or 2 slides ago, in the need for electricians and plumbers. Those are the two key skill trades that are needed the most around this data center infrastructure build out, is electricians and plumbers. The other part around data centers that our industry is looking at is how do we protect ratepayers, right? So your parents or those who are paying your electricity bill, your utility bill, how do we protect ratepayers from having to incur the cost of data centers coming online, number one. And number two, how do we take the hyperscalers, those who are building the data centers, your Googles, your Metas, your Amazons, how do we take them and make them very thoughtful, strategic partners to the communities in which they're coming into? So for example, Virginia has Data Center Alley, lots of data centers going up in Virginia. And so how do we ensure those ratepayers and those community stakeholders that are in those neighborhoods surrounding that area in Virginia are leveraging and benefiting from Meta and Amazon and Google coming in to their neighborhood and building these data centers? And there's a few different ways that the utility companies are doing that. I won't dive too deep into that right now, but just know that that is something that we welcome the thought partnership on. You have regulators and public service commissioners that are a key stakeholder in that space, and it's another avenue of this industry. Your regulators in 12 states are elected officials, and their job is really to hold the utility companies accountable, right? And so it's not the wild, wild west. Utility companies can't just go out and just do what they want because they do. So it has to be voted on, it has to be passed, and it has to be thoughtful considerations that go into that. And those considerations can be the cost. It can be whether or not they're creating jobs. It can be ways that they're engaging the community. It can be ways to decarbonize. There are a lot of factors that go into that. And those regulators, they hold utilities accountable to that. So here we're kind of looking again out. I told you just now the data centers and the electricians needed, but electricians are also, those are the guys that are up on the lines, right? And so electricians is probably the number one skilled trade profession that you will see hear talked about and promoted here in this energy space. And I'm going to pause on that and come back to that next point in just a second. But here you get a little bit of a look at where's the need and the why. So here's kind of where we're talking about the societal impacts and just the way that we're looking at building a workforce. A lot of this is a little bit granular, and I'm going to go forward a little bit into a couple of things that I really want to put in front of you all in these last 5 minutes or so here. Higher power. If any of you are young ladies and women that are really interested in this space, curious about this space, what have you, yes, this is a male-dominated industry. and we can call a spade and acknowledge that. But we are absolutely supporting the continued growth of women in the skilled trades. And Higher Power is a tool, a resource, and a program that is aimed at doing just that and leveling the playing field for women. Think about tools like line workers, as I was saying, and think about having to lift those heavy transformers. Partnering with organizations like Milwaukee, for example, where we can build tools that eliminate the need for upper body strength to do the job. There's mentorship and mentees within this program. Just really cool, really awesome women that are doing the job, but then also creating tools and creatives and resources that will further support women in this space. So please, if you're a young lady out there, get into Higher Power. Troops to Energy Jobs. We talked a little bit already at a very high level about our veterans in this space, but Troops to Energy Job is just that. It has an MOS translator. So basically whatever you were doing in the military, here's how that job can translate to the energy sector, and we're going to help you get there. I'm going to kind of fast forward through some of this. The Urban League and Unidos, if any of you all are familiar with the National Urban League, they operate in 93 cities across America. Unidos has 300 affiliates, and we've partnered with them to bring energy careers, opportunities, and education and make them forward-facing and more accessible to you all directly in your community. So they have specific energy education, after-school programs, pre-apprenticeship programs, and we've created pathways in partnership with them to help you access our industry a little bit easier. Through that program here, just to touch on it at a very high level, through that program here, some of this number is a little bit outdated here, but over almost 900 people have gotten jobs, and almost $20 million in starting salaries have come just through this program with the National Urban League. This blueprint here is really cool. Right here, you'll see on the right more so is just kind of really a blueprint. Right? If you're interested in energy careers and you're trying to figure out what that looks like and how to access them, this blueprint just gives that to you. Do you like math? Okay, go this route. Do you like to work outside? You work with your hands? Go this route. Here are majors that maybe you should consider in college. Here are technical schools if you don't want to go to college, but you want to go straight into the skilled trades. So this blueprint just really helps outline some of that. I want to put... I don't know if I can put something in. I don't know if you guys can see anything in the chat here, but I'm going to give you all a website that will help you all with all of these resources, because I know I'm throwing a lot of things at you here. And so this website will have everything right there for you. And that's www.getintoenergy.org. And everything that you need to know about how to access careers in energy or how to get into this space or break into this space, you'll find that on that website there. Perfect. Third week of October is Careers in Energy Week across the country. We worked really hard to get some legislation passed with senators and Congress last year, and that was passed pro forma, bipartisan on both sides of the aisle. And so now we're able to do really cool things around Careers in Energy Week. This isn't public news yet, but happy to share it with you all that this year for Careers in Energy Week, we are partnering with the National Urban League and Live Nation, and we're going to do a concert hopefully in 2 cities this year in the country. And that concert will be free. And the only thing you'll have to do is a small survey around what your interests are relative to the energy industry. But it'll be a free concert. It'll be really cool. Right now, we're going through some really cool big names to see who will be the performer in each of those 2 cities. But we are trying to figure out the likes of Big X the Plug and Lil Tecca and some of these other people that I have no clue who they are, but I'm sure that some of you will. So that'll be fun. And then lastly, I want to come here on this map here. This might be a little bit more pertinent. Energy Connector for you all. This is a QR code that takes you straight to Energy Connector. And this is ways to be connected with energy curriculum, energy resources, the utility companies and the employers within your specific state, service territory, or locale. So this tool here is really awesome. It's a cool way to just get plugged in. This and getintoenergy.org. And then I'm going to actually bring down the presentation just here for just a moment. And we can close the presentation slides up. Perfect. So there's a couple minutes left. I wanted to save 2 minutes if there are any questions that you wanted to pop into the chat. There's a lot we didn't cover. So I want to encourage you all, if you have questions, please feel free to visit either getintoenergy.org. Please feel free to email me. My email address is my first name, Cornell, at cewd.org. And so please feel free to reach out and email me. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. I'm happy to connect you with the appropriate folks if you're looking to explore employers within your certain space, if you want to talk to the unions and talk about registered apprenticeships, or if you want to look at career and technical schools. Please reach out. Happy to connect with you all on LinkedIn, email me, or whatever have you. So thank you all for having me, and it's been a pleasure.
What if you could build your own city? A place where every child can find nurturing people to help them achieve their full potential. A place where every adult can access job training support, where health education is abundant, where social justice ruled the land. A place without limitations. Welcome. You have arrived at STEM City, USA. It is what every city should be. A safe and trusted community where you find people and resources to help you become everything you are and beyond. STEM City is unlike anything you have ever experienced. It is a digital twin of the world around you, only better. STEM City is about energy and soul renewal. It is more than a digital world. You can almost feel the power of live cultural events, music, and theater. STEM City promises a better future for children with caring mentors and hands-on activities with dedicated tutors to support our youth. STEM City is your passport to a healthy lifestyle with weekly events addressing our community's many issues. STEM City is your financial well-being with helpful information on wealth management, career advancement, job training, and so much more. STEM City is the community you deserve. It is the city where your dreams can come true. STEM City USA, a place in the sky that is accessible to all who reach for the stars.
The future isn't waiting. It's calling on students ready to step up. It's calling on you to serve communities, to explore careers, to build what comes next. Service to Nation, a national virtual job and AI training connects students to real pathways, real skills, and real purpose. College-bound or not, your future belongs here. Discover what's possible. Visit serviceonation.org.
Good morning, super awesome, wonderful young people. I'm excited to be here this morning to hang out with you all. I think we're going to have some fun. I understand that you all are interested in taking over the world, being multi-billionaires, and allowing me to retire one day soon. I am Gary Sims. I am an area support lead for Microsoft, but more importantly, I am a member of STEM City. Thanks to Dr. Tyrone Taborn, I am the chairman of the Workforce Development Committee. So when you think of workforce, you think of jobs and how hard they are, and you think of STEM and all of the work you got to do to get there. But I am here to enlighten you on the fun stuff. You are doing some phenomenal things right now. And we're going to have a dialogue, primarily me, chatting with you. Hopefully you take away a few nuggets of things that will intrigue you that you're already doing to show how great you can be in the future. When we hear about STEM careers, we often think about math and computer science and engineering and real deep deep technical things, which is great. I love those things. I like doing them. I'm an engineer, a software architect. I love infrastructure, but I'm also a futurist. I love looking at the future and using scientific formulas to do predictability and have fun. But you might go, wow, where did all of that come from and how did I get there? I got there from where you are right now in your journey. High school, thinking about what I'm going to do over the summer. What hustle am I going to put in place? Am I going to go cut yards and grass to make some money? Am I going to go work at the fast food restaurant? Am I going to go wash cars? You know, what is that hustle that I'm going to do to help me make money so that I can have some cash to hang out with my friends and go to the movies and get the things I want over the summer? But you probably don't realize those things are STEM careers too. Everything has math in it. Math is a STEM: science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. Mostly everything has engineering in it to some degree, but everything has transferable skills. The reason I want you to note that term, transferable skills, it is how you will do phenomenal things in the future. So let's say you're cutting grass, making your hustle over the summer. You set a price, $50 a yard. You can do 5 yards in a day. That's $250. Maybe you only work on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. That's $250 a day times 2, that's $500. So what did we do? We had to manage our time so we could get to those yards, so we had to schedule. Transferable skill: time management, scheduling, risk mitigation to the schedule. If it's raining, I can't cut the day, or if it's going to rain later, I got to cut before the rain. I got to think about risk management. I got to think about cost and value. You know, what equipment do I have to use? Do I have to rent a lawnmower? Do I own my lawnmower? Do I have to put gas in the lawnmower? Is it electric? And you think, you know, I can't use any of these things if I go work at a technology company, or if I go work in a bank or in a manufacturing organization. Yes, you can, because those are transferable skills. You're doing time management, you're coordinating activities, you're scheduling with people. More importantly, you're managing a conversation of a product so that people understands the value of it and will come back and use that product again. One of the challenges I see facing the youth of today for the future of tomorrow is we evolve into artificial intelligence. People are hesitant to think, I possess what that needs and I can go be successful. When instead the vision is, oh, this is hard, this is complex, I don't know computers, I can't do artificial intelligence. But in reality, you're the best people to do it. You're a bright young mind with a clean slate. And you've been doing things all through high school, whether you were playing sports, you were on the debate team, you were dealing in the science lab, coming up with some cool things to save the world. All of those things, all of those things are the things that will help you be successful. One of the things about artificial intelligence that's a real job that people will have and do have and are needed now is called prompt engineers. So you think, oh man, I got to learn how to code. No, you got to learn how to tell a story to get a system to produce an outcome. In life, all on this journey, there are going to be things that you do that you don't associate with deep technical STEM kind of things. But in all actuality, you're doing it every day. So I said prompt engineering. Getting a system to do something you want it to do. Think about that when you pull up to the fast food thing to get your Big Mac and fries, and you don't want any lettuce on it. So you say no lettuce, extra sauce and extra ice in my Coke. That's the same thing with prompt engineering. At the command line, you write, I want it to do X because I want to get Y out of it, and this is how I want you to formulate it. You already know how to do that because you already know how to have a conversation. High school, I think, far better resources than even college. In college, you're reading a lot of books and you're studying. I love college. I want all y'all to go to school. Don't think I'm telling you not to. Go to school, learn everything you can, learn every day. I'm still learning. I go to school more frequently than most people. But high school, when I reflect, wow, the things that I picked up from high school, how to interact in a social environment, how to collaborate, how to do things, partners in the science lab, how to work on projects in the shop, how to do real storytelling when I had to write English papers and do stories out of different books. That's where I had the most fun. Also, playing sports from football to basketball to hockey, just loving the life and having fun, because the more you have fun, the more you learn. Everything you do should be fun. Every time you go into class, you should just smile. You should try this for the rest of the school year. Just smile, laugh, say you're happy. You freak the teachers out because they think you're stressed out, but you're not. You're learning transferable skills. Skills you can take from one thing to do something else, no matter what it is. Some of you young people and entrepreneurs, you probably got a babysitting hustle going on the side. You probably are doing some garage cleaning or, junk removal. We already talked about lawn caring. Maybe there are some painters out there. Whatever you're doing, garage auto mechanic, you like mechanics and you know how to change tires and fix engines. All of these things present skills. So let's talk a little bit about just some basic, everyday, transferable skills that a lot of people don't illuminate because they don't think they're important. We hit on time management a moment ago, but I've been telling you one through this conversation. Storytelling. You are phenomenal at storytelling. And storytelling is a transferable skill. If you think about it, some of the greatest marketing things you see on television, in theaters, and movies, or you hear on the radio in songs and lyrics, is just storytelling. And you already do it. You do it every day. Someone says how your day is going, you tell them a quick little story. Your parents or guardian asks how was school today, you tell them a quick little story. And when it's super exciting, you emphasize school was great. I got to talk to this crazy dude, Mr. Sims, who's an area support lead for Microsoft, and he talked about transferable skills. He also made me think about a hustle I could have. I could go around painting mailboxes, charge people $25 a day, do 5 mailboxes a day is $125 a day. Man, that's some cash I could have to go buy my new Nikes. You can tell a story. Do not discount your transferable skills. So as you're thinking about things you're doing over the summer, and as you're thinking about getting to that senior year and selecting that college you want to go to, think about the storytelling you have to do and how that's a transferable skill. And how do you hone in that skill? Be more verbose in your conversations. Not long-winded. There's a difference in being verbose and long-winded. You know, some people come and have conversations with me and they just keep talking and talking and talking and talking. I don't know what they're talking about. Other people are very succinct and verbose, and this happened on this day at this time with these people, and this was the outcome, and this was my feeling, and it was phenomenal and great, and they move on. Don't just say, oh, my day was good. My day was great. I got to interact with some high school students in STEM City. We talked about transferable skills. I was energized. As a matter of fact, I took some of that to my next meeting with the executive committee and just challenged them. Are you telling your stories right today? That's what we want to do. Understand our transferable skills, to which one of them are storytelling. Another one we hit on, but I want to go back to because it's critical in all work: time management. You're really good at time management. You're juggling several classes. You got to get up to get to school on time. I know some of you guys and girls oversleep. You stay in late, but you got it timed out to where you still make it before that first bell. You get in there because you know how to manage time. You know how to manage time to do the chores you got to get done, the things you got to do in the afternoon, in the evening. You know how to manage your time so you have free time on the weekends. Time management. It's a critical transferable skill. And we don't talk about it a lot. You know, we say, oh, I worked at the corner store or at the fast food place, but you still manage time. And you got to emphasize that so people know. And if you feel you're not good at managing time, get great at managing time, because your time is valuable. That's where you make your money, on your time. You got to be able to be where you got to be on time and get the work done to move on to the next thing. So we talked about storytelling. We talked about managing time. There's another thing that I believe young people, especially high school students, do extremely well, but yet again, don't really talk about it as a transferable skill. Financial management. Yeah, I know some of you people just thought, I don't do financial management. I don't even have any money. I can't do financial management. Yes, you can. And you do it very well, because you know how much that new pair of tennis shoes cost. You know how much you need to go on to the movies with your friends. You know how much you need to get that new jacket or shirt or pants or video game, or CD or music or download. You know. And you know how to calculate it. And you know I got to save this much this week to get this thing I want next week. But you also know if I put this money away, I'll have it for when I want to do this. But again, because you're young and moving forward to the next phase of life, you don't associate that with something critical like a transferable skill. I promise you, what you do with money is a transferable skill, because when you get to college, you got to pay tuition, and maybe you got to pay room and board, and maybe you got to pay for a meal plan. You got to have clothes to wear to school. You don't want those sneakers to wear or whatever cool shoes you're wearing. And might get a little cold and you might need a hoodie, and you might be far away and need to travel home and have money to travel home. And maybe you want to take a car to school and now you got a car payment. You know how to manage money. You know financial management. You know how to save. You know how to estimate. You even know how to budget because you do it even if you don't write it down. Why am I talking about these things? And why is transferable skills so important for you as a high school student preparing for the next phase in life? Let's think about artificial intelligence. You can use artificial intelligence to find all kind of information, get all kind of things to help you do more efficient, effective, and faster things in life. But it cannot do the job that you do, and it cannot define and convey who you are. It can help you write a resume. It can help you tell a story, but you got to feed it the information. And the information that you feed artificial intelligence is the same information you need to fill in the blanks for society. Who are you? What are you capable of doing? How are you capable of doing it? What will the outcomes be for your future? You have to fill all of that in. It's not hard. It's what you're doing. And now your mind is going, yeah, I see what Mr. Sims is talking about. I do like to manage my money. This money thing is working for me. I understand what he's doing. Okay. I might need to save a little more. Or you thinking, I'm going to freak my parents out today. When they ask me how was school, I'm going to have a whole conversation, a verbose one. Your parents will ask you if you feel all right. They're going to be, are you okay? Because you normally just say, oh, it was good. Things was all right. No, give them a whole sentence or two. Blow their mind. All right. So we talked about storytelling, financial management, and time management. I want to conversate with you on why I know you can do crisis management. And if you're wondering, it's a very lucrative career to do crisis management. It's part of my role as an area support lead. I deal with crisis. I deal with executive escalations. I deal with the world is on fire and somebody needs to come up with an answer of why and what we're going to do about it. But how did I get those skills? Like all the old people in your life, I'll tell you a story about high school. I had a high school teacher. I was taking architecture engineering. I was learning how to draw buildings, and in Washington, D.C., drawing the subway. And one day we came in and all the projects were gone. It was time for finals, and my project was gone. This was not going to work out well, but it was truly a crisis because in my household, you couldn't fail a class. That was going to be a problem. Mama was going to be upset. However, I, somewhat being a class clown, did not know I was doing crisis management. Because I was telling everybody, oh, don't worry, it'll be fun. We'll go down to the chicken shack, the little corner place, get some wings, we'll get some pop, we'll come back, we'll cram through lunch, we'll get everything back. I was just having fun because I figured, well, it's all gone. This is going to be hard, but we might as well get some wings and pop. But that's crisis management. How do you diffuse a bad situation, find the positivity in it, and strive to relieve the negative instances that are happening that are impacting you? In that moment, I didn't know I was doing crisis management. I was being a class clown. But in reality, I was calming people down. I was highlighting the possibility of us being successful. I was finding a new path to get done what we needed to get done and moving forward with the things we needed to do. The thing most important to me when I think of that is I didn't know what transferable skills were then. I knew I had a problem. I knew I had a crisis. I knew I wanted to have fun and work through it. So you may be thinking right now, well, how does that apply to me? Could be you got a lot of stuff coming at the end of the year. It's time to finish up the school year. Maybe you're behind, maybe you aren't. Maybe you got a crisis going on at home, and you know what? You got to cut the grass, but you need to meet the friends at 4, but you got to cut the grass. You don't get out of school till 3. You got 1 hour. Get home, cut the grass, and be ready to go. Maybe you were saving up all your money. You had it in your pocket. You left it on the school bus. Somebody else got all your money. You can't go get those brand new sneakers now. How do you get it? Oh, you're dealing with a bunch of crises. Some of them are more significant than others. Time management, problem management, frustration, anxiety, all crises. But you're working through them because you already know if something's going wrong, I need to talk to somebody. That's crisis management. And my role, if the world's on fire, I go talk to somebody. What's going on? Why is this happening? How come this is going on? How can I help? And then we lay out a plan and we go help and get it done. The same thing in life that you're doing in high school. Maybe you got a peer who's going through something and, you know, we all said this in high school, that teacher don't like me. That may or may not be true. But talk to your buddy. They may say, well, they're a stickler for the way you write. Write your story this way, or work on this project this way, or turn your paper in a day early so they know that you're committed. There's always a solution to the crisis. And it is one of the greatest transferable skills. But remember, I just said, talk to somebody. If you talk to somebody, you're telling a story. If you're telling a story, you're communicating. If you're communicating, telling a story, being effective, being efficient, managing time, you are, in fact, doing crisis management. It's everything we've been talking about. So that hustle that you have, working in the fast food place, working in the dry cleaner, cutting the grass, painting the mailbox, whatever it is, it's preparing you for crisis management. Because maybe you were painting mailboxes, you ran out of paint halfway through and you don't remember the paint code. Now you got to go back to the hardware store. You got to get them to match the paint. You got to get some more paint so you can go back and finish the job. It was a crisis at the moment, but you worked through it. You went and talked to the person at the hardware store. They told you what the match number was. They blended you up some paint. You went back and finished up, got paid your $25. You're still on your way. You got to manage time now because you had to deviate. You had a little crisis. You had to leave and come back, but you can make it up. I've been talking a lot. I'm going to start to summarize by saying it like this. Anything you're doing right now is preparing you to the future. As leader of the Workforce Development Committee, I want you to be inspired to go do great and wonderful things. But I already know you're doing great and wonderful things. So I want you to be able to tell that story, to convey them to others, so that they understand how phenomenal you are and what you're capable of doing. I want you to be able to share with people your journey in a verbose way, not long-winded. Don't just sit there and talk. Tell a story, be concise, deliver the message, show them how great you are at managing time, managing money, telling a story, managing a crisis, doing problem management, doing project management. Because right now, you're a gold mine. People want to hire you. And the more you learn, the more you read, the more you absorb, the more you are destined to be the critical element of the future and create the next innovation pivot beyond artificial intelligence and quantum computing and exascale computing. All of that stuff is coming. But I'm investing in you all because you're sitting on a gold mine. You are a gold mine. You are a phenomenal group of people. It has been a pleasure talking with you, even though you couldn't chat back and forth this morning. I feel the vibe. I feel the energy. I know you're thinking about these great things. With that, I'll put a bow on it. Thank you for your time. Continue to strive. You are our future. You are the critical element that we're depending on. do great things, stay engaged, collaborate with one another, and tell the story. Thank you very much.
This spring, we're launching Service to Nation, a national virtual job and career fair, a nationwide movement to connect America's high school students with careers of purpose, innovation, and service. From rural towns to urban schools, Service to Nation invites grades 10 through 12 to explore emerging fields like artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, and quantum computing, while meeting real employers, colleges, and national service organizations. Our message is clear: your future, your service, your nation. This campaign isn't just about jobs. It's about civic readiness, workforce development, and national impact. With videos, social content, and live experiences, we'll reach students where they are and give partners a platform to meet mission-driven young talent. Together, we'll inspire a generation to learn, serve, and lead. Service to Nation, a national virtual job and career fair. Learn more at servicetonation.org.
What if you could build your own city? A place where every child can find nurturing people to help them achieve their full potential. A place where every adult can access job training support. Where health education is abundant. Where social justice ruled the land. A place without limitations. Welcome. You have arrived at STEM City, USA. It is what every city should be. A safe and trusted community where you find people and resources to help you become everything you are and beyond. STEM City is unlike anything you have ever experienced. It is a digital twin of the world around you, only better. STEM City is about energy and soul renewal. It is more than a digital world. You can almost feel the power of live cultural events, music, and theater. STEM City promises a better future for children with caring mentors and hands-on activities with dedicated tutors to support our youth. STEM City is your passport to a healthy lifestyle with weekly events addressing our community's many issues. STEM City is your financial well-being with helpful information on wealth management, career advancement, job training, and so much more. STEM City is the community you deserve. It is the city where your dreams can come true. STEM City USA, a place in the sky that is accessible to all who reach for the stars.